All right, good morning to you. Glad you came into us this morning. The Marc Cox Morning Show, a few minutes after 5 on your Thursday morning, and man alive, it was in the high 30s out in my neck of the woods this morning. I don't know about you, but just be prepared. You will need some sort of a covering, a jacket, or something as you head out the door this morning. It is just a little bit chilly out there. It's going to be a nice day, I think, but you're going to need maybe the seat heater or something when you get in the car if you park outside.
Oh, seat heaters are the best.
Oh, I know. I agree with that completely. A little spoiled. My car's like 11 years old, but it's got that. That makes me happy.
Yeah, mine's 10 years old. I know people will say, well, you guys are just da-da-da with your seat warmers.
Yeah, you're so fancy.
I'm sorry, my car's a 2016.
So
I have like 160,000 miles on my car.
Mine's a 2015. I've got almost 180 now. It's getting up there for sure. But it still runs like a top, and that's all that matters to me. It gets me back and forth 60-mile round trip every day to get here to the radio station. So woe is me. How about that? Hey, what a day yesterday. Woo! Go SCOTUS.
That was, wow.
Man.
People are flipping out.
Oh, the drop and flops I've seen, the drama from all of this. You're gutting the Voting Rights Act. You're awful. How could you do this? Blah, 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 blah. The Voting Rights Act was to stop discrimination. Period. In stop. The Voting Rights Act was designed to stop discrimination, not encourage reverse discrimination. And the problem we have here is a basic misunderstanding of what the Voting Rights Act is meant to be. And I'm going to use a word here. It's been bastardized since its inception to mean something that it was never intended to mean. And too many courts let them get away with it. And they came up with this idea that, well, if we're going to reverse, if we're going to change all these laws that prevented black people from voting, this law is going to let us ensure that moving forward we make up for lost ground and we reverse discriminate to create congressional representation where there should be none. And the thing that came to my mind yesterday was this, Kim. For all these people that are upset about this, I would like them to answer this question for me. Take African Americans out of the mix for a minute. What if they went to San Francisco and they penciled in a district designed to guarantee that the only person who could ever be elected from that district happened to be Asian? Or let's say there was somebody somewhere with a high Jewish population. I don't even know where that would be. Somewhere in New York, wherever. And they penciled out a district to make sure that nobody could ever be elected to Congress from that district except somebody who was Jewish. That's not representative of government. It's not. Gerrymandering was created by people who wanted to create certain districts to support a certain point of view. The goal of congressional districts is to make them large and contiguous and roughly the same size, the same population is supposed to be in each district. That's how it's supposed to work. It was never, the Voting Rights Act was never designed. It was designed to end discrimination, to make sure you couldn't pass laws saying that black people couldn't vote, or having Jim Crow laws, which is what, Chuck Schumer likes to label anything that would require voter ID. He thinks that's a Jim Crow law. That's the stupidest argument I've ever heard. All the Supreme Court recognized yesterday was that you can't, reverse discrimination doesn't end, it's still discrimination. The point of the Voting Rights Act was to eliminate discrimination, not to guarantee that a certain minority would have a certain representation in the United States Congress. That was never the goal of the Voting Rights Act. It never was. I've got the points of the Voting Rights Act right here in front of me this morning. It's not in here. That's not what it was about. It was to ban literacy tests and similar devices used to prevent black citizens from voting. It required jurisdictions with a history of voter suppression to obtain federal approval before changing voting laws. It prohibited practices that diluted the voting power of minorities, such as discriminatory redistricting. And they took that vote dilution argument over the years and they warped it to say, well, then you have to create districts where only a minority, and very specifically only a black person, could be elected to represent that district. And it ended up with that district they showed. Did you see the map yesterday? The district in Louisiana?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Oh, my God.
But that's how it is at a number of states. Like, you look at the way that the map's drawn in Illinois, and you have, for example, in some of these states where they've been gerrymandered, you have it going from the southern part of the state all the way creeping up like a snake to the tip-top northern part of the state, and that somehow is justified.
My point to this is, if you replace the word black with any other race or ethnicity, people would be outraged. That black people would be outraged that you were. How dare you create a district just to make sure
a white person
could get elected? That's not the case. You have to run good candidates and be the candidate of choice for your party and have good ideas and represent the majority of people, of your 800,000 people, however many people are in your district. That's always been the goal of these congressional races. What happened yesterday was not shocking, and shame on Elena Kagan and the three liberals on the court who once again proved their purpose there is not to interpret the Constitution or to take laws and hold them up against what it says in the Constitution. They are judicial activists. Elena Kagan and the Democrats wrote a dissent that was longer than the original decision, claiming that this guts the Voting Rights Act and it's blatantly political and an attempt to. I mean, all they're doing is taking a huge stick and stirring the flames. That's what these three people, in this case, these three women on the Supreme Court, the progressive left justices are doing. They're stirring the pot. They want to create a racial tension in the United States. This decision shouldn't be controversial. There's nothing controversial about it. My question is, and we're going to get Bevis Schock on here a little later. He's a local attorney who has studied this situation. What does it mean for Missouri's first congressional district? I mean, Lacey Clay held that job for 20 years. His dad held it for 20 years before him. But if you drew those lines the way they should be, and they didn't just cover one little chunk that includes the city of St. Louis and a few liberal enclaves in St. Louis County, that wouldn't be necessarily a blue district.
Well, I've seen a lot of, because now we're at a 7-1 map, and the Missouri Supreme Court, had upheld that was, in fact, a constitutional redistricting. Could it go 8-0? 8-0. Is that the future of Missouri?
You, if you read the decision, it makes you realize that Emanuel Cleaver had a district drawn to guarantee that Emanuel Cleaver could get reelected over in Kansas City. Same thing goes for Missouri District 1. Because a loon like Cori Bush would not get elected in a district that was pink, or maybe even light purple. I'm just saying, people would reject that outright. But when you draw lines like that very specifically, that's what you end up with, right? It's not representative of the people. She never passed a single bill the entire time she was in Congress. Nothing. Accomplished zero, except sleeping on the Capitol steps and claiming that meant something. I don't even know. I'm just saying, this whole thing yesterday What a win for democracy is what it was. It wasn't racial. It wasn't tinged racial. It wasn't a decision by 6 Supreme Court justices who were all legal scholars to somehow damage black people or take power away from black people. Not the point. The point was the original law was twisted to do something it was never meant to do, and this just sets it straight. It just sets it back to zero. Run better candidates. In other words, not people like Jasmine Crockett or Cori Bush would be my argument to all that. All right, I went a little long there. We will get to our top stories as soon as we come back on this Thursday morning. How about that? Right now, let's get to our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets reckless, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We look good out there. It's pretty quiet at this hour. Eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 all look good. Out west into downtown, we are quiet on the bridges, and things look good on the Illinois side as well. Off to a good start. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
So many storms already this spring, storms that have produced hail. We had people telling me in Lowndale they had baseball-sized hail the other day. I know they had some in Springfield. We had hail that was anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half in certain parts of the area just over the weekend. That qualifies to file an insurance claim on your roof if it damaged your roof. If the hail was at least an inch and it hit your house, you need to get your roof checked. And you know I'm going to recommend my friend Curtis Corral. A great guy. Better than that, he's just honest. He's a veteran. He's a great human being who's not coming over there just to make a dime off of you. He loves what he does. He'll get up and look at your roof. If you have damage, he'll tell you. If you don't, he'll tell you. If he notices that you've got some flashing that needs to be fixed or whatever, he's going to tell you that too. It's a good time to get that roofing inspection right now. Call 314-222-9529 or go to CorrellRoofingCo.com.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, And I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called him. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
I don't think that I would be in Congress if I had gotten married and had kids. And that doesn't say that married people with kids can't be in Congress, but I think for my particular journey. And so I will say that I'm trusting his timing.
Yes.
And I personally believe that it was better that someone meet me after all of this.
Is that Jasmine Crockett admitting what a fake she was in Congress? Now, she's out of Congress now, right? But she was a completely different person than the young woman that graduated from MICDS, a school the vast majority of us could never afford to send our kids to, and then going to a prestigious law school, and then between that and becoming a candidate in Texas, where she suddenly adopted language like she grew up in the hood. I mean, she was a fake, a fraud. So now she's saying it's probably better I didn't meet a guy before I ran for Congress, because that's a whole different thing.
Well, I'm going to say this and probably get some blowback from it. Let's just say that that's vaguely fascist, okay? Basically, I'm the president, or Secretary of Defense in this case. We get to do what we want. And our elected representatives, they cannot question us.
Yeah, how about that? Now, now Pete Hegseth is a fascist. So let me see here. A few days after the third assassination attempt on a man you've repeatedly referred to as Hitler and a fascist, Democrat congressman went all over media yesterday, dropping comparisons to Nazism and fascism because the Secretary of War said words that hurt their feelings in a hearing.
Jimmy's a comedian, and I would argue that Caroline Leavitt didn't mean shots should be fired, right? She was making a joke. Fair enough. So I look at that side and go, well, jokes are jokes, but the rhetoric, I think, is a little dangerous.
Oh, you think? George Clooney. Well, he's on the outs with the left anyway, right? After dropping the truth bomb on Biden and the fact that he was so out of touch. And now he's out there defending his buddy, left-winger Jimmy Kimmel.
So this is a extremely concerning opinion coming out of the Supreme Court, but we are going to continue every single day to use every tool we have to make sure that we have secure, fair districts and elections come this November.
Yeah. Oh, it was so concerning listening to the left talk about this decision yesterday like it was some blow to democracy. I'm sick of this garbage. What are you talking about? If you're upset over who your party is running for office, take it up with your party. Or maybe, I got an idea, this will be controversial, take a closer look at who your party's really supporting. Maybe they're not working in your best interest. Now, I say that, and I get people on here claiming that, do you really think a 7-1 Missouri map is representative of our state? The goal of a congressional map is to square off areas that all have roughly the same population size. It's never supposed to be about who it can elect and who it can't elect. That's gerrymandering. I mean, if you could give a 10-year-old a crayon and a map of the state of Missouri and say, Make me 8 squares that are all roughly the same size. And that should be the map we use for the state of Missouri. And then whoever gets elected in those districts gets elected in those districts. The fact that Missouri is predominantly a red state is representative of the majority of people in the state of Missouri, right? If you did that in Illinois, there would be that Republicans might even have a majority of congressional seats in the state of Illinois if they weren't gerrymandered by the Democrats in the state of Illinois to not draw large contiguous districts. That's what I understand. Doing it any other way is racist. It's not about, not racist, it's not fair. Drawing what they did in Louisiana was racially motivated. How is that not reverse discrimination? I'm talking about people on the text line this morning claiming I'm racist because I support the way this was done yesterday. Somebody said the Democrat meltdown on X yesterday for racist congressional districts was delicious. It was fun to watch them melt down because they see their power being threatened. If you're mad about this, Twion or whoever commented on Facebook earlier, if you're mad about the way they redrew the lines, run for Congress. Run as an independent. Run as a Democrat. Run as a Republican. Get in the battle of ideas. Crawl into the ring and tell us what you think. And if what you think is representative of the majority of people in your congressional district, maybe you'll get elected to Congress and then you can go to Congress and talk about it. But drawing lines to guarantee that you get to go to Congress just because of the color of your skin is anti-democratic. It's not what democracy is supposed to look like. And that's been warped over the years by largely one party, if you pay attention. The same party that voted against the Civil Rights Act, by the way. The Democrats, the Republicans passed that, just in case you're keeping track here this morning. All right, we'll be back with Kim on a Whim in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Well, I know talking about buying windows, not the top of the list of what people want to go do, right? But if you're a homeowner, at some point, you've got to fill the holes in the side of your house with something that gives you some thermal efficiency and looks great and lasts a long time. I mean, honestly, Kim and I were talking about this yesterday. If you're a homeowner, boy, sometimes the maintenance can just drag you down. You've always got something coming up that you've got to fix. The Windows thing should be positive and it should be easy. And my friends at Window World, I really hope you'll let them give you a bid if you're considering Windows. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. It's an easy number for you to remember. Or windowworldstlouis.com. You go there, they're going to give you a free estimate. They're not going to refuse to leave until you buy something. That's not how they do business. They have a great product, and they'd love for you to take part in that. Over 80,000 customers in the last 20 years. 1-800-GET-WINDOWS or windowworldstlouis.com.
I'm Stuart Varley, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Apple's earnings are released after the Wall Street closed today. Apple recently revealed that another veteran executive, John Ternus, will succeed Tim Cook in September. Also reporting today, Bristol-Myers Squibb, Cigna Group, Eli Lilly, Caterpillar, Royal Caribbean Group, and Valero Energy. Kevin Mon, President and Chief Investment Officer at Hennion & Walsh, says the Iran conflict is being overshadowed this week by earnings.
Investors seem to be looking past all of this right now and are more focused now on other events taking place this week with respect to large cap tech earnings and, of course, the update on the Fed's key inflation gauge, that being PCE.
The PCE price index is released this morning. It's expected to reveal a 3.5% increase in March. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosolda. Invested in you.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we are looking good on the roads. If you're just headed out, it looks like a typical morning, at least at this hour, and we are in great shape on 55 northbound through the multiple construction zones. Looking good from out west into downtown. Things are fine through North County on westbound 270. We look good on the Illinois side and the bridges as well. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Going to be in the high 60s today. Going to be gorgeous. I'm telling you what, I love the weather this time of year before the humidity starts setting in. A great time to think about the possibilities in your backyard. And if you're going to do that, I got some people that'll help you out. Like if I'm doing interior decorating, I got to hire an interior decorator. If I'm going to do something new in my backyard, I need to hire an expert to do that. The greatest thing about Chesterfield Fence and Deck is that they'll do the advice portion of it for free. They'll give you free project design. They'll show you great photos of before and after of other projects they've done, maybe your neighbor's yard or somewhere down the street. And it gives you inspiration, gives you ideas, and then you can move forward with whatever you're looking for, whether you're going to screen in a porch or you're going to put a new fence or a deck on the back of your house. Let Chesterfield Fence and Deck help you out. Same ownership since 1968. A lot of pride in what they do at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. If you mention my name, they're going to give you 48 months, same as cash financing. Can't beat that. Reach out to them. Visit their showroom in the Chesterfield Valley. It's easy. ChesterfieldFence.com.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 11:35. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and zero res. Marc Cox here. Buy one room of carpet, get one clean for free. Unlimited rooms and whole system duct cleaning for just $5.99. Visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
From the gateway to the airwaves. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
Well, we talked about what I call the God switch, the ability for the government to reach down from on high with their satellites and shut your car off. Ford Motor Company has now filed a number of patents to take care of this so they can do this exact thing, put an array of cameras inside your vehicle. And then the AI will determine if there's something wrong with you. Have you been drinking? Do you have some stress going on? Not feeling well? It won't turn the car on, or it'll turn the car off as you're driving down the road.
If that doesn't freak you out, I don't know what will.
That and central bank digital currency should all freak you out, in my opinion.
There's a lot of things, I guess, that should freak you out right now. That was Steve Gruber talking about this patent that Ford Motor has been trying to get that essentially allows the government, he says, to have a kill switch. So it would be a screening system, a camera, that would scan your face before you drive. It would be able to detect your eyes, if your eyes are bugged out or look like they're red. And then if it feels like it detects that you're not all the way there, not just drinking, but I guess distracted or of some sort, it would not turn on. So you go to put your car in drive and you're not going anywhere. So think about you being in an emergency and you're all panicked and you're flustered and maybe you're crying and your eyes are super big because you're flipping out about something. You're rushing to the hospital and your car won't even start. It won't go into drive.
Who would ever agree to that?
Well, I started looking into this because I saw this clip and it almost seemed fake. And then I see that Chip Roy's talking about it. This actually dates back to a 2021 infrastructure law that supposedly requires new cars by the year 2027 to have the technology in them, all the cars, to monitor drivers for impairment and to be able to limit operations if needed. They're trying to cut back on drunk driving. And I get the sentiment. The goal in and of itself is not bad. Do any of us want people out there high and drunk driving beside us on the roads? Of course not. This is not the way to go about it. There's so many ways this could go wrong. This feels so Big Brother-like. The fact that you could scan my face and detect my heart rate. Like, for example, they were saying, and who knows if this is just people kind of on the crazy train and saying this is going to happen and it won't be this extreme. But someone was saying that it would be able to, for example, detect your heart rate, your eye movement, your facial expression, your lip movement. So let's say that you're in an accident. Law enforcement would be able to subpoena the data, and then essentially your own vehicle would testify against you. Your insurance company would have evidence to deny the claim, saying, look, Mark was distracted. Look, Mark was clearly impaired.
I agree. That's taking it one step further than what they do now. I mean, now in an accident, they can download the onboard diagnostic data from your car and tell how fast you were traveling at the moment of impact. This would just carry that one more step. So to me, if it's used like a breathalyzer device is used for people who are repeat drunk driver offenders, I understand that. Is that the context, or would every car have this capability and it would just be a matter of turning it on?
This is what I'm seeing is that it would require new cars by the year of 2027, not just people who are habitual drunk drivers.
No.
And again, this goes back to a 2021 law.
Well, we need to fix that.
Well, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that's been flying under the radar, and for whatever reason, it seems like it's all of a sudden coming out now. And it was weird when I was Googling about this, which is why I was initially worried it was fake, is because why are people not talking about this? This is very alarming. I'm glad that Chip Roy's at least mentioning the fact that this is totally invading my privacy. I mean, you shouldn't be able to just start monitoring my eye movement and all these specific details. It does, but it's not. It's not scanning my. It's not going to not work. Let's just say I have crazy eye movement or I was drinking too much or something like that. It's not like my phone won't work if it feels like there's something weird going on with my eye movement. Maybe it is next with my eye movement, and it's not like the government would be able to, or law enforcement would be able to subpoena, let me get the data from Kim's phone. They could, obviously, my search history and other things like that, but they wouldn't be able to get things like eye movement.
Well, guess what, Kim? I don't know about, we both drive older cars, but do you have AirPlay in your car?
Yep.
So you either attaches by Bluetooth or you plug it in, one of the two. What's to keep the new onboard computer from not saving that information?
But that's very different.
Is it?
Yeah.
But my point is, it could.
That's what I'm listening to. I don't like that either, but I can get more on board with that. That's what I would be typing into my phone to play. Am I wrong? would be AirPlay versus like my eye movement.
I'm not talking about your musical choices. Your phone has a digital image of your face. You use it to unlock the screen in a lot of cases.
Okay, yep.
It has your search history. It tells what you were surfing just before the accident happened because you were looking down at your, I'm not saying you do that, but you're looking down at your phone, watching some video on YouTube right before you rear end the guy in front of you. If that's connected to your car when that happens, they wouldn't have to subpoena your phone anymore. It's probably all in the computer on the car. What's to keep the car from storing that information when you not know it? Those are questions I'd like to have answered.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, so you know how they have that technology in some of the cars where if you start to swerve out of the lane, it will beep, 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 and it will almost try to get you back into the lane, or it will brake for you if it feels like you're getting too close to the car in front of you.
Sure, Michelle's car does that.
I get why it's
it.
helpful, but it's really annoying. Do you think that would store the information? So, for example, if you got into a crash and it was like, actually, we had to trigger the beep, beep, beep. You were swerving in the lane, so clearly you were intoxicated.
Of course. Well, I mean, you could argue that you were all over the place, and they could question that in court.
So I'm saying, do you think that it's storing the information of how many times it's having to correct your driving?
Absolutely.
Because then what would stop an insurance company
Nothing.
from saying, hey, we detected in the last year that you were driving too close to another vehicle this many times, and therefore we're going to increase your rates?
I have a question. How many of you have gotten a letter from your insurance company? I got one. This has been a few years, but it said, hey, if you're willing to attach this little computer monitor to your OBD, your onboard diagnostic, and run it, we'll lower your interest. We'll lower your insurance rates in return for us being able to track your driving habits.
Mm-hmm.
And many people jumped on that because they wanted lower insurance rates. But what you had given up to the insurance company at that point was how often you brake, how hard you brake, what your average speed is.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff then became the property of the insurance company.
Yep.
To be used against you in the event that you get in a bad accident, and they can somehow pay you less for that than they would otherwise have to because you gave them permission to track your driving habits.
It's just scary in general how much information of ours is out there and so readily available. Like, for example, I've been getting text messages more than normal this past week from random companies like, hey, have you heard about this deal? And it's not like I have that number saved. And so clearly someone who has my number sold it, made a buck off of it, to give them my information, and now it's like a feeding frenzy, and they're just, nonstop texting me about some stupid thing, and I just hit delete and report as junk, and then the next day I get another one.
Somebody on the text is playing devil's advocate with you guys. They're saying, would you be upset if that technology is on the car that may have been used to kill one of your family members? Would you want that technology on there then?
I think that's a really good question. And I mean, that's the kind of thing I think about when stuff like this, when we're having these types of discussions, because I understand what you're saying. I totally do. I can't imagine having a family member of mine killed in a drunk driving accident, and if they weren't able to prove, for whatever reason, that the person was drunk and they didn't get a conviction, and this technology could have been the one thing that, got them behind bars. I can't imagine that. But I just don't, this isn't really the answer for me.
That information's already used. My point is, in general, I'm not going to buy a car, and the government shouldn't force me to buy a car that does that every time I turn the engine on. If I've got a record of driving problems and a court orders that kind of monitoring, that's one thing. I'm not one that thinks you should give up that privacy automatically. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what this person's arguing about on here, actually. Putting the shoe on the other foot, let's say a drunk driver kills you. Those OBD stuff, all that stuff is already accessed by the insurance company and the police in the event that you get in, that somebody hits and kills your family. They're automatically doing that already. I'm not talking about restricting that at all.
Not to this extent. Not a camera that scans your face and can detect your eye movement and your lip movement and all these different features that we don't have
no,
that
but I'm just saying
now.
if they're going to put that on cars, mandatory on every car, I think that's a just like you said. What's the you somebody's chasing you through a parking lot, you manage to make it to your car, you get in, you're huffing and puffing, you're excited, you're crying potentially, and you go to start your car and it won't start because it detects there's something wrong with you. I mean, what the hell? That's crazy.
Again, this is something where it seems so psychotic to me that I want to keep researching it to make sure that they're not just twisting my arm about this. But dates back to 2021. Chip Roy's talking about it. Other people are starting to talk about it. Ford's jumping on board, trying to get a patent for this. It's weird.
Yeah, somebody on here's now got the conspiracy theory that Cash for Clunkers was initiated to get rid of cars that didn't have this type of technology.
I don't know that I feel that. I don't believe that.
Come on. You know, my 2003 GMC Denali still had an onboard diagnostic that they could pull out and use against you in the event you got in a crash of some sort. This is just the next level of technology that if the government's really forcing this into cars, that's something Congress needs to take another look at. I'd love to know who did that, who thought that was a good idea. All right, quick break here. We'll be back in just a minute. Remember, we've still got Tom Ackerman coming up. We've got Jim Talent, Bevis Schock to talk more about this big SCOTUS decision on the Voting Rights Act. Shannon Bream a little later. She was at the Supreme Court going through the papers yesterday. We'll talk to her in the 8 o'clock hour.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got some road work eastbound 70 causing delays around Wright City this morning. A lane down there just east of Wright City, so just a jam behind it. And then things open up and look fine into downtown. Southbound 61 is still in good shape out west. We are quiet throughout the area, looking good on the Illinois side as well. So off to a pretty good start here this morning. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. They've got rates as low as 4.75% and savings up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. The event ends on May 31st, so schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, Home Shield Foundation repair is going to be busy this week with all that rain we had, I'm sure. That doesn't mean they're not going to get to you. You don't want anybody other than Matt Hayes, in my opinion, coming to your house. There are some, pretty big companies out there that do the waterproofing and the foundation and all that. Now, Matt tells me some of them, maybe not all of them, but some of them have waterproofing packages they want to sell you. They arm their salespeople with these packages, and when they walk into your basement, they don't care if the leak is only from one crack on this side of the basement. They're going to go ahead and tell you need to waterproof everything. And it's a much more work and a much bigger fix than you actually need. If you want the lowdown on what you really need to get done, you need to call Home Shield Foundation Repairs, 314-271-9900. Matt says he will let the basement speak for itself and promise to match the solution with the issue. How can you ask for anything more than that? If you're a homeowner, you want somebody whose opinion you can trust and you know they're not just a slick salesperson or trying to give you work you don't need. I love that. 314-271-9900. That's the phone number to Home Shield Foundation Repairs. Be sure and tell them Marc Cox sent you, or you can check out what they do online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
97.1 FM Talk is proud to support the Guns N' Hoses First Responders Soccer Cup, May 30th at Worldwide Technology Soccer Park. Law enforcement battles firefighters and EMTs on the field, all for a great cause. 971talk.com/events.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Hey, St. Louis, need to sell your home fast? The Gelman team with eXp Realty can make you an instant cash offer in just 24 hours. No showings, no repairs, no waiting, no drama. Visit thegelmanteam.com to see what your home could sell for fast. Or give the Gelman team a call at 314-336-1991.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No?
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
What you want to do is save hundreds with Liberty Mutual.
Nothing like a free Liberty Mutual commercial for you there as you tune back in this morning. I apologize. I was trying to find something. In fact, what I was trying to find was this for us because we had a little debate here in the studio a minute ago, Ethan and I, over the founding of this song. Remember this song? Hold on. Does it on?
No more. A woman done left and took all the reason I was working for.
Remember Johnny Paycheck? Take this job and shove it. Everybody remembers that song, right? Yep.
Sure.
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
Well, he made the song famous. There's no doubt about that. But the guy that wrote it was a guy named David Allan Coe. And David Allan Coe passed away yesterday. Very sad. He was 86 years old. One of the outlaw country singers of his day, but he was also a pretty prolific songwriter, and he wrote songs that other people took and turned into hits, like You Never Even Called Me By My Name was one of his songs, The Ride, Take This Job and Shove It, which, of course, Paycheck made famous, and of course, he made a dime every time somebody sang one of the songs that he wrote. But he was a big part of country music for many years. He passed away yesterday at 86. He used to tour with Willie Nelson and Kid Rock and Neil Young and all of these others. Tanya Tucker, he wrote a song, "Would You Lay With Me in a Field of Stone" by Tanya Tucker. So he wrote so many different songs that other people made famous. That's the thing about it. So anyway, very sad news this morning. Hate to hear that. See, Kim, this is why I say when my favorite rock stars are still touring, I need to go see them because they might kick off the next day. I mean, you just never know. Like the Rolling Stones. I mean, that Mick Jagger's 80 years old and he's still performing on stage. That's pretty awesome.
So do you think it'd be really distressing if you realized that they had a tour, a quote, actual final tour, and you weren't there?
I would. I would be stressed. I'm going to have a great...
Is that how you justify needing to buy tickets to your wife?
It's going to be an expensive summer. Let's put it that way. But I'm going to have a great summer. I really am.
How many
I might get to go
to?
see Stevie Vai and Satriani. They're coming to the Factory, I think, on May 10th. So I might have just cooked up a chance to see them. That's good. I was talking to a buddy yesterday who wants to go see them.
So you're going to see Steve Vai twice this summer?
No, Satriani twice. Satriani's the guitarist.
Well, because remember, it's his. They
Sammy Hagar.
think it's his last tour, but then this one, the next time he's going, actually will be the last tour. So he's got to go twice.
Well, those are two of the greatest guitarists in rock music. They really are. I mean, Stephen Vai. He played with David Lee Roth when he went and did his solo stuff after he left Van Halen. Fantastic guitarist. And Satriani's also one of the most incredible guitarists still on the planet, which is why Hagar chose him to play the Eddie Van Halen portions of this.
Wasn't
Satriani
his teacher too? I think that's
Who's teaching?
Steve Vai's.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he helped out.
Wow. Anyway,
and Steve Vai
should be
played
good.
for Frank Zappa.
Yeah. Well, anyway, some rock history for you there. Sorry.
You might as
Off
well
on
be
a tangent.
saying the wiggle womps and the wigwam. This means nothing to me.
Ethel Cain. We're so sad I didn't get to go see Ethel Cain the other night. I said no one ever.
So hold on. Remember we were Googling about this?
We did. We Googled her afterwards because if you missed this yesterday, I stopped by Lit Cigar Lounge on my way home from my retirement advisory event the other night, and I'm having a Guinness and talking to my friend Brian and Dana, and I look out the window, and I see all these goth-looking people walking by with purple and green and like colors of hair that don't exist naturally in nature. And I'm wondering who in the world are they going to see? So we Googled who was playing at the factory, and it was Ethel Cain.
And Ethel Cain made history, apparently, as the first openly transgender artist to achieve a top 10 album on the Billboard 200.
There you go.
Was non-binary, now is transgender.
Picture of Ethel kissing a girl on, I guess, his Instagram?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There were some odd-looking ducks walking into the factory the other night. Just let me tell you that. Yeah, I'll judge. Coming up, we're going to give away some tickets to an American hero. His name is Kid Rock. He's playing. We'll give those away next hour. We'll get to the St. Louis Morning Brief. We got our buddy Tom Ackerman in here to talk sports as well. They're about to expand March Madness. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Tony La Russa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Mrs. Weiland, why don't you go ahead and read the top line for me?
I should.
Next line.
Get my retirement. What's that?
Checked, Mrs. Weiland. Get your retirement checked.
Planning retirement on your own doesn't pass the eye test. Jerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost at Ricken Financial can help bring your retirement into focus. Call 314-207-6211. Ricken Financial, making sure your retirement vision is 2020.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Did you get a call or message that mentioned Social Security that made you feel threatened or scared? That is not the Social Security Administration. Social Security will not threaten you, press you for personal information, or demand instant payment. Social Security does not accept payments by gift card, prepaid debit card, internet currency, or by mailing cash. Criminals use these forms of payment because they are hard to trace. Don't fall for it. Hang up, ignore them. Report this criminal activity to oig.ssa.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Iran remains defiant.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Its new Supreme Leader believed injured in the U.S.-Israeli attacks that also killed the old leader, his father. Just posted on X, a new chapter is dawning in the Strait of Hormuz. Mustafa Khamenei also wrote that America's military campaign and aggression is a shameful failure, adding Iran will protect its nuclear and missile capabilities. But President Trump insists.
At this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
President Trump has opted to extend the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports, calling the blockade, quote, genius and foolproof in crippling Iran's economy. But the president is also warning Iran that he is weighing another wave of military strikes, warning them to, quote, get smart soon.
Fox's Brian Yanis in Tel Aviv. And with shipping still affected in the Strait, oil prices have surged this week. Gas has been pumped up 8 more cents today. AAA's national average for regular $4.30 a gallon. A week ago, that price was $4.03. It's back to court today for the suspect in the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack. Vice President Vance is praising Secret Service for stopping the man, telling Fox's Will Cain show.
I just feel very grateful to them and very grateful for what they do. And frankly, grateful to God that agent who was shot was not seriously hurt. It could have been a lot worse.
But House Oversight Committee lawmakers had more questions yesterday for the Secret Service director in private, with concerns about overall security at that hotel Saturday night. Late last night, the House approved the process that Republicans are using to fund immigration enforcement to get around Democrats who've held up funding demanding ICE reforms.
It's a 215 to 211 vote with no Democrats voting yes on a Senate resolution to fund immigration and border enforcement for the next 3 years. The vote's not on the funding itself. It allows congressional committees to start drafting legislation for it that could then be passed through the budget reconciliation process with no support needed from Democrats.
That's Fox's Chris Foster. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Good morning. It is 6:03 here on this Thursday morning. I'm Kim Sainange for 97.1 FM Talk. I'll tell you what, grab the jacket as you're heading out the door this morning. We're in for a nice day, but it is chilly as you're heading out the door. 42 degrees is our current temperature. Well, if you've been missing mail, this might be why. A large pile of mail has been found dumped in a North St. Louis vacant lot. The Postal Service is investigating how it got there and also coming up with a plan to deliver it. The mail includes some bills and even an insurance card for addresses all over St. Louis City. Some of those letter even as far away as Ferguson. 11 students were injured after a school bus overturned in Carrollton, Illinois. The crash happened around 3:45 Wednesday afternoon on Highway 67. Police say a car going the opposite direction crossed over the center line. The Green School District bus driver drove to the shoulder of the road trying to avoid the car, ended up hitting a ditch and flipped over. 11 students and a staff member were then taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. St. Louis is now ranked second in the nation for the highest construction job growth. The region had about a 6% increase in construction jobs between last February and this February, totaling about 4,700 jobs. Only the Houston area added more than St. Louis at just over 11,000. In sports, the Cardinals now just one game away from sweeping the Pirates after beating them yesterday 5-4. Wrapping up the series today with a day game. First pitch coming up this morning at 11:35. And City SC beat Chicago in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Final score 2-1. 42 degrees now. We're coming up on 6:05. I'm Kim Sainange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We've got a slowdown eastbound 70 out in the Wright City area. It's approaching Wright City to a point east of there where they've got a lane down for some road work and it's causing delays. But other than that, it is quiet at this hour. Now, tonight on 55 down in Jefferson County, they're going to close one lane in each direction on McNutt at 55. Ongoing road work there. That will be 8 o'clock tonight until 5 a.m. tomorrow. This report brought to you by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a beautiful Wednesday across St. Louis. Lots of sunshine. The northwest flow is in solid control. It's cool for this time of year, but it's nice. A little breezy as we go through the day. 68 for the high. That breeze again from the northwest. Tonight, clear skies. Pretty good temperature drop with the clear skies and light winds, and we're going down to a chilly 44. Thursday, sunny and 68. Friday, sunny and 62. The weekend looks quiet. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
6:06 and 42 degrees here downtown at the Arch. You can take the Marc Cox Morning Show with you wherever you go. You can listen to the show anytime. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, happy Thursday to you. Bundle up before you head out this morning. A little chilly out there. It was about 39 degrees when I got in my truck this morning. So just giving you a heads up before you head out the door. Going to be a pretty nice day. Other than that, should be fine. Coming up, we're going to get to our opening brief for you with some of the top local news stories this morning that we have discussed here a little bit in the headlines, but we'll get to some of the important stuff. Plus, Tom Ackerman at the bottom of the hour talking about sports. And, of course, we're going to continue talking about the biggest story yesterday, which, of course, was the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act, I should say, decision in the Supreme Court. The drop and flop by the left has been epic. It's been something to watch. If you missed it, why don't you go to Cut 8? Just an example of the drama that the left is throwing out about a very basic common sense decision by the United States Supreme Court. Go to Cut 8, please. Catherine
Today's opinion is another devastating blow to fair elections in our country. And listen, this is what we know. Republicans are looking at the same polls that we are. They know they're losing, and they're going to use every tool they have to try and choose their voters instead of
All right,
having
stop
voters
it. Just pause
them.
it for a minute. Honestly,
so this is a
Catherine Clark is just accused the United States Supreme Court of making this decision because they want to help Republicans gain more seats before the midterm election in November. I just want you to let that soak in for a minute. A United States Congresswoman, in fact, I think she's like the minority whip or something for the Democrats, which means she walks in the shadow of the mental giant Hakeem Jeffries, has just made the argument that this is a devastating blow to democracy. And it's the biggest bunch of tripe you're going to hear all day. I mean, honestly, the way they're portraying this, it's somehow African Americans in this country have just been stripped of some magical power they had been granted by the federal government. No, the Voting Rights Act was fantastic. It was fine. It was very needed at the time because of the way laws were practiced in certain parts of this country. But that was a long time ago. That was 1965. 60 years ago, 61 years ago, to be exact, when this thing was passed. And those problems don't exist anymore. They don't. There aren't literacy tests and things like that used to try to stop black people from voting. That's what the Voting Rights Act was designed to stop, right? So we're going to tear this down a little bit more this morning. We've got Bevis Schock coming on a little later. Jim Talent's going to join us. He served, obviously Jim served in the House and the Senate and can comment on this redistricting issue to some extent. But I was telling you this, Kim, when Wiggins has been here a few times talking about the whole redistricting issue. Everybody's focused on Virginia picking up 4 votes or whatever, or Florida adding 4 votes, or Missouri adding a vote, or what. All that is background noise. Despite all of that that's happened, it's basically been a wash. The Democrats might have picked up 1 seat because they don't have much room to go because they've already gerrymandered every possible district they could over the past 30 years, including districts that are guaranteed Democrat votes where they can guarantee a minority majority in a district. Think about that. Just let that soak into your brain for a minute. You have people who think it's okay to have a district where people who are in a minority in the country are suddenly in a majority in that district just to guarantee them a seat in Congress. That's not fair. What's fair about that? If you replace the word African American with white, with Jewish, with Asian, with any other minority group, any other group, forget minority or not, people would scream their bloody heads off. What the Supreme Court recognized is that this is reverse discrimination. You can't do that. And what it means is that across a bunch of southern states where Democrats have warped this law, and the courts have allowed it for years, to form districts guaranteed to be a Democrat seat. They have little spots of blue in bright red states. And all of that is about to change. And the Democrats are losing their collective minds because there's nothing they can do to counter it. They're freaking out not because anybody's getting screwed of their rights here. They're freaking out because it threatens their power base.
So how many more states that have not already redistricted do you think will now jump at this opportunity to try to fix what's been done in the past by the Democrats to draw these really crazy congressional maps?
Louisiana, Mississippi, there's a whole list of them. I've got a good soundbite on that this morning from Jan Crawford at CBS, who looked at some of the states. Many of them were waiting for this decision to move forward with a redistricting bill.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they knew this would have an impact on it, and whether or not, like, there were certain districts that were just untouchable because everybody believed that somehow the Voting Rights Act guaranteed the reverse discrimination that was taking place in that one district. And what the court looked at it and said was, well, this is crazy. Why would we, if our goal is to end discrimination, then we need to end discrimination in every form, right? And Jan Crawford of CBS probably summed this up best by quoting the Chief Justice on this. Listen to Roberts. Hold on. Here we go.
Justice John Roberts said in a case back in 2007, the way to end discrimination, race discrimination based on race, is to stop discriminating based on race. And this Supreme Court, with those 6 conservative justices, believes that racial preferences, whether it's in affirmative action, whether it's in redistricting, that can amount to unconstitutional race discrimination, Major.
Yeah, reverse discrimination. That was CBS News reporting on that.
We call it reverse discrimination. I've always used that term, but really it's just discrimination.
It's just discrimination.
We just call it what it is. It's discrimination whether you're discriminating against black people or white people, or I don't care what your skin color is. It's discrimination.
The better term is revenge discrimination. We're angry because things were like this for a certain period of time. You need to go 180 degrees the opposite direction and discriminate against other people to make us feel better about what happened. And that's basically what the legal argument was. You need to leave this the way it is because 60 years ago things were done differently, or wrong. People were wronged 60 years ago. So now, to make up for that, you need to discriminate against these other people. That's the court just said you can't do that. If we're against discrimination, we're against discrimination.
So what happens to a state like Illinois that has a very wonky map that clearly was drawn? Because you've got...
But political gerrymandering, they still say, is okay. Racial discrimination in gerrymandering is not. That's what this ruling separated.
So it would take an attorney or someone going in there and trying to make the argument that it's political and it's racial.
If you could make that argument, then you could get it thrown out. We'll get to Bevis Schock, local attorney at Schock Law, on this coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Let's get to our top stories real quick.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
Justice John Roberts said in a case back in 2007, the way to end discrimination, race discrimination based on race, is to stop discriminating based on race.
Yep. Thank you, Jan Crawford. CBS getting a few things right. They're probably going to fire Jan Crawford for going on the air and uttering such common sense as that.
Presidents are in charge of the thermostat, of the political temperature of the country, period.
That's Chuckles Todd. He's trying to claim that Donald Trump is the only one that can turn down the harmful rhetoric in this country. Because, of course, Donald Trump goes out every day and refers to himself as a tyrant and a king.
The biggest adversary we face at this point are the reckless, feckless, and defeatist words of congressional Democrats and some Republicans.
Woo, boy, do they hate Pete Hegseth. It was loud afterwards as they all came out, and one of them referred to him as a tyrant, I think, as a fascist, for daring to ask questions back to the congressmen who were clearly making political hay yesterday.
I'm a black woman in America, so I mean, some people are just like, oh, but you're a congresswoman. I'm a black woman first.
Yeah, Jasmine Crockett continues to win. She continues to give winning talking points, even though she's not in Congress anymore. I don't know what she's going to do next. Maybe get married and have children. She suggested that earlier, that she had to wait till she got out of Congress, because that's a whole different thing.
How old is she?
I don't know. I have no idea. No, I'm just glad she's not in Washington, D.C. anymore. That's for sure. All right. Do we need to give away tickets here? All right. Let's hit it, please. There you go. Kid Rock is coming to town, and you have a chance to win 2 tickets if you call right now to 314-241-9797. How about caller number 6 this morning? 314-241-9797 in honor of us giving those away in the 6 o'clock hour. Caller number 6 will win tickets to Kid Rock. It's coming up May 15th at Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, courtesy of Live Nation. All right, we'll be back with the St. Louis Morning Brief in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. We've got a slowdown eastbound 70 out at Wright City. They've got road work east of Wright City blocking a traffic lane. Some moderate volume along northbound 55 at 141 and a little bit at 270, but for the most part, not. And we are quiet. We're also quiet on the Illinois side if you happen to be heading in or out on the bridges downtown or on the Illinois side in general. It looks good. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Spring is here, and it's time to toss out the dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, they're springing forward with their longest price guarantees ever on their gig speed internet services. No data caps, just pure speed. Go to i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, Rhino Shield is doing great work all over the place. I keep getting the fantastic before and after pictures from my friend Darren in Oakville just the other day doing a house with stucco. It doesn't matter what's on the outside of your house. They're going to be able to take care of it, and I love that. But they'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure Darren comes across occasionally some houses that Rhino Shield's not going to work on, but those have got to be far and few between. The Hardy cement board, he can cover that up. If you've got masonite siding, if you've got stucco, if you've got cedar, you name it, and they're going to come out and they coat it with 2 to 3 coats of this tremendous product that is 8-10 times thicker than regular paint. It forms a waterproof shield. It's what you need if you want to be maintenance free for the next quarter century or so. They give you a 25-year warranty. I'm a satisfied customer. You're going to have the same experience because it's just beautiful and durable, and you're going to love Rhino Shield. I don't know why you wouldn't at least let him give you a look at it, and the evaluations are always free. Call Darren today, 877-25-RHINO, or go to his website at 877-25rhino.com.
The BizDash 5K, presented by Worldwide Technology, is back. Produced by the St. Louis Sports Commission, this high-energy corporate race is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour, combining fitness, fun, and unbeatable team bonding for companies of every size. Runners and walkers of all levels are welcome. It all comes together at Energizer Park Thursday, May 7th in downtown St. Louis, an office party like no other. Create your company team today at stlbizdash.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Hey, it's Marc Cox, and if you're still looking for the perfect Mother's Day gift, I've got an idea. Head to Hot Tubs of St. Louis. They're having a huge Mother's Day sale. A hot tub isn't just a gift, it's relaxation, better sleep, stress relief, and a backyard upgrade the whole family will love. I'll be live on site Saturday, May 9th from 11 to 1 at Hot Tubs of St. Louis, 5030 Griffin Road, just south of 270 and Tesson Ferry. Come by, say hi, and find Mom the gift she really wants.
St. Louis Morning Brief.
Hey, first of all, congratulations to Ray from St. Peter's who just won our Kid Rock tickets. He's a truck driver. He says he listens to the show every day. Starting at 5 o'clock, drives here and basically to Ohio 5 days a week.
Wow.
So he is in the truck a lot. So
he's using the Odyssey app at
be
some
like
point.
Ray,
Okay.
and you need to listen to us for the entire 4 hours of the show.
Thank you, Ray. We love that.
And congratulations. All right, going back to this mail story that I mentioned at the top of the hour, where there was a large pile, hundreds of pieces of mail that was found basically dumped in a North St. Louis vacant lot. And now the Postal Service is investigating how it got there, which, Mark, should not be that difficult to figure out.
I wouldn't think so, because every postal person has a route that they drive, correct?
I would think they'd have to,
depending on the date, the postmark of the mail, they should be able to pretty easily figure out, like, a leaker in the Supreme Court who was working that day when that piece of mail disappeared, or that week.
Well, and people had bills. There was an insurance card that was found. So, and missing mail has been a problem for many, many years. And it's not just in the St. Louis area. But I remember when I was reporting for KMOV, I did so many stories about missing mail. This is a serious consequence, by the way. If this person is caught, assuming they are, whoever dumped it in North City, it's considered a federal crime, obstruction of mail or destruction of mail, if they're caught, and I doubt this would happen, but they could be facing up to 5 years in federal prison. The fine could be as high as $250,000, and because it's a felony, well, we also know that has consequences as well.
I've lost confidence in them, to be honest with you. And I know that the individuals work hard for the most part. But if you take issue with that and you trust it so much, drop $500 in an envelope and address it to yourself.
I did this
If you have
experiment.
that confidence, then go ahead and do that and see if it makes it back to you.
I didn't do it with $500, but again, going back to when I was reporting, we did that where we went to different postal offices and we tried to mail something to see how long it would take. And I forget which one was best or worse, whatever. But some of them took way longer than you'd think. And that's why people are more willing to pay for some of these other services to make sure that whatever they're trying to mail actually gets there.
It's just inefficient. They've got so many inefficiencies in the system.
Well, they're short-staffed usually.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'll be honest, I didn't know it was called this, but if I say the Edison Brothers building in downtown, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
It's what was a hotel right next to the Enterprise Center. So if you're ever coming down for a hockey game, this is what you're going to see when you get off at 14th Street, where they're planning to do an $81 million renovation to it. Used to just be a very popular hotel. In fact, my sister and brother-in-law had their wedding reception there. Beautiful venue. It's kind of looked a little not so great lately.
It's the one that butts up against the interstate there at 14th Street, and it's got a
mural.
painting on the mural on the side of it, right?
Kind of a corally looking color. Well, now it's been a mixed-use property with 72 condominiums, 270 hotel units. Last major upgrade was more than 20 years ago.
See,
and so
I'm that old. I remember when they first renovated it. Sorry. I knew somebody that lived there.
Well, I just remember my sister having her reception there and it being pretty. And now when I drive by, I see homeless people sleeping outside of it. But they're making improvements to the hotel public spaces. Here's what's interesting. New street-level amenities. I mean, this is kind of one of the
homeless people?
I guess so. Maybe like a little pee pad or something like that.
I'm sorry.
Too far?
Not making fun of the homeless people, but I get off at that exit every morning and drive by there. And to Kim's point, there are almost always homeless people sleeping in the alcoves on the outside of that building. It's kind of where for some reason, they hang out there. It's across from the bus stop, and that's kind of where they hang.
Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of downtown, if you are downtown at all, especially during the month of May at night, you might notice that the arch will be dark. They will not be having the lights on. Do you know why,
Mark? Pay the bill?
Maybe that was the mail. Maybe the bill.
The bill
was
the bill
actually
was
dumped
in the
in
mail
the
and it
North
didn't
City
get paid.
vacant lot.
Or because part of the government's shut down and they can't afford to light the arch.
No.
What is it?
It's to help birds flying north for the warmer months. It's to help the migrating birds.
So what do the lights on the arch have to do with that?
Maybe they're confused and they worry they'll run into the arch. Don't you think the lights would help the migrating birds? Or is it blinding and they're like, they freak out when they see the lights and they crash into it?
So the argument in Florida, certain months of the year, because my mom had a condo down there for years, you couldn't have your lights on at night on your balcony for certain months. And they would fine you for it.
Really?
Out of fear that the turtles would get confused. Because after baby turtles are born, supposedly they go toward the light of the stars, which is out into the ocean. But if they see lights the other direction, they might go the wrong direction and not make it into the water. That's the theory. And that they will fine the hell out of you if you violate that nonsense.
Well, the National Park Service says that turning the lights off entirely is the best way to help the birds during these high-intensity migration months, and they say that 40% of the nation's migrating birds use the Mississippi River corridor during the spring and fall migrations.
Maybe all they need to do is switch it over to being powered by solar, and then it wouldn't work half the time anyway.
Bingo.
I'm just saying. They can help them out there.
You're full of ideas, Mark.
I try. Coming up, we're going to get to our buddy Tom Ackerman. He'll be in studio next hour. We got Bevis Schock joining us from Schock Law to talk more about the voting rights decision by the SCOTUS yesterday. We'll be right back.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Okay, so if you go to retirementkey.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. But what they do there is pretty simple. They provide you with a worry-free retirement. They're the leading authority in St. Louis on it. They've written books about it, which they're going to give you a copy of when you show up at their house. Love seeing them. When you go there to their front page, you know what's the first thing you see? Official financial advisors of the Marc Cox Morning Show, the Annie Fry Show, the Mark Reardon Show. You hear them on all three of our shows. And just got back from one of their meetings out at the Doubletree in Chesterfield, where once again they were able to inform people, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw, Thomas Helbig, on what to do to protect your nest egg. The market's been up, the market's been down. If you fret over that because that's where your income is coming from, you need to talk to my friends at the Retirement Advisor Group. They'll make it easy on you. It's free to sit down with them. 314-993-9494. Or again, check out that website at retirementkey.com.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have a slowdown out west. If you are eastbound on 70, there's some road work, but this time it is a little bit further east, closer to Forestell instead of Wright City. So if you're traveling in that area, expect a delay. Headed for Forestell, and then things open up. Southbound 61, the ongoing road work at 64 and 70 is causing a delay there. So a little bit slow through there this morning. And northbound 55, of course, the multiple construction zones. So some moderate volume, Crystal City, Herculaneum, 141, and then it really jams up when the left lane is down, headed toward Bayless. Now, on the Illinois side, we look good. It's quiet over there, and we look good on the bridges downtown, quiet through North County. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Gravois Bluffs. Come visit us now. Ready to refresh your space with furniture that's built to last? The new Haverty's Furniture Showroom is now open in Fenton and Gravois Bluffs. Experience Haverty's regret-free guarantee for yourself and shop the latest in living rooms, bedrooms, and more. Visit Haverty's now in Gravois Bluffs.
Glory Lou is the person I'm going to recommend if indeed you are considering selling your house. I mean, maybe you just were sitting over dinner and say, you know what, maybe we should take another look at selling the house. If that's you, if that describes where you are in your life right now, but you haven't taken any other steps, I'm going to recommend you call Gloria just because there's no obligation when you reach out. Everybody knows realtors, that's for sure. You need to question them because it is the most important position you're going to hire for yourself. Let's put it that way. You need to kind of do a job interview. And here's what Gloria brings to the table. 20 plus years of experience, all different kinds of housing markets. She knows what's going on in your neighborhood. She's got a list of people looking to buy in your neighborhood, plus her guarantees on top of all of that. She will buy your house if she can't sell it. She'll put that in writing. Also, she'll sell your house for 100% of market value or pay you the difference. If other realtors are not telling you that, here's the number you need to call, 314-325-6888. It's easy to remember. Tell her Marc Cox sent you, or go online to gloriahasthebuyers.com.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 11:35. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
2026 is a big year for America, and we'll be here with you, celebrating every step of the way. Happy birthday, America, in 2026.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I would agree with that. This whole idea, we're going to get Tom Ackerman in here in a minute, but this whole idea of expanding the NCAA tournament, what's up with that? That's about as dumb as NIL, in my opinion. Wait, there's Tom Ackerman. Let's get his thoughts
A great
on all this,
sportsman
please.
like Tom Ackerman.
Baseball's really not a hard sport.
It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
It's like powered by coffee this morning.
Sports, sponsored by McDonald's, reminding you to round up your total for Ronald McDonald House charities on your next order.
Good morning, Tom Ackerman. How
Morning.
are you?
How we doing?
Doing good. How about you?
Doing great. Things are good. Things are very good, especially in the St. Louis Cardinals world.
Well, that's true. I want to get to that in a minute, but I do want to talk about the story I saw that while it said yesterday no final decision's been made, it seems very likely that they're going to expand from 64 teams to 78 or
72?
68 to 76.
76. 76
Both
is the
wrong.
number. Why? Where's the pressure to do this? Is it the anger of the last 4 out teams that get, because you're still going to have that, right?
Yeah, you'll still have teams that wish they were back in. I don't know, man. If I were SLU, I'd like this a lot because SLU is one of the powerful teams in the Atlantic 10, one of the best teams, and the Atlantic 10 only gets like 1, 2, or 3 teams at best in. Last year, at the start of the year, I was told that the Atlantic 10 was a one-bid league. Ooh, okay. Well, SLU and VCU were able to get in there, but also Dayton, GW, there's some other teams that would have the opportunity to get into that last grouping. So how they line that up, we'll see. I'm not totally sure because it's not official yet what that format will look like. But if I were SLU or one of these mid-majors, I'd like it a lot.
So I guess that makes me wonder, are they spreading the love? Are they then going to have more regionals, or will they just have more teams in the same regionals? You have to wonder.
You have to wonder and let them kind of put that out there. But I'll say that at first I didn't like it, but now, 68, it used to be 64, then they added 4 to make it 68. They add 8 teams. I mean, how much more is that really? I mean, it's 8 teams, so it's what, 4 games.
So
and then a couple more. I don't know. It doesn't sound really that it's going to be that hard. Now, if you keep expanding it, I mean, if you went any longer than that, I think you're diluting it a little bit. But right now, I think there are some pretty good teams that not only have been left out, but who have said, I don't want to go to the NIT now. I think we're going to pack it up. I will say that what I would not like to happen is more of the SEC and Big Ten teams getting in. Like, I don't need to see any more of these mediocre SEC Big Ten teams.
Well, this opens the door for potential Cinderella stories. Is that
potentially
kind of the idea?
That's the thing that I like. I don't want to see like the middle of the road SEC team, the 12th ranked SEC team or whatever, that thought they should have gotten in, get in because of this.
You want
to
you want to see like a SLU,
like give
smaller conferences.
Let's use the proper metrics and get the teams. I mean, SLU got into the dance and they scorched Georgia. I mean, they absolutely blew them off the floor. So, hello, I think some Atlantic 10 teams can absolutely play with the mid-level SEC teams. SLU just proved that. So, yes, I would love to see the mid-majors get some love out of this, and it's fine. I'm not going to make a huge deal out of it because I like the NCAA tournament. It makes a lot of money. It's basically because some people watch it because so many people gamble on it. Let's just be honest. So,
but the reason that the metrics favor those bigger conferences is because they're playing better competition, generally speaking, right?
Yeah. Also, they won't play SLU. So, yeah, name me one SEC team, for example, that would go play SLU tomorrow. I will say 0. There's not a chance. that any of those Power 4 teams are going to schedule mid-majors. 0. And the reason for that is they lose too much when they lose the game. And when they beat them, they were supposed to beat them. I'll give you another example. Mizzou. Ask Mizzou if they want to play SLU. That answer would be no.
No, they won't.
Because they have too much to lose. Otherwise, they would have done it already. SLU would love to play Missouri.
And they probably would have beaten them.
Oh, SLU would love to play Missouri. Now, there were a couple of times there last year where Mizzou looked pretty good and probably would have handled SLU. There were other times where I think SLU would have run them off the floor. But that's the thing. It's too much of a risk for a Power 4 team. That's the problem the mid-majors have. They can't schedule those teams because those big teams won't play them. So this does give an opportunity for the little guy to punch a little bit, which I do like.
Right.
I initially did not like the idea of expanding the tournament, but I get it.
Mama Kay wants me to stop talking about basketball. Let's talk about the Cardinals.
Who's Mama Kay?
Lisa, who's on Facebook.
I'm glad you asked that because we say Mama Kay, but nobody else listening.
That's
would
what
have
she
any
went by
clue.
for many years,
Yeah.
and she not so much anymore.
Well, I mean, they had a rough.
That's how I know her.
They had
She's my friend.
They got swept by the Mariners. Now they're potentially going to sweep the Pirates, which is great. And this is a 4-game series that they could take.
They looked awesome in that Saturday game against Seattle and lost it. They hit 5 home runs against the Mariners at Busch Stadium and lost the game. That is a real shame because their bullpen leaks and their starter couldn't go deep into the game. But as I told you, they make things exciting. And it goes both ways. The Cardinals are never out of a game, and the Cardinals have never really known how to secure a game either. They don't really blow teams out. And last night, another example, it's 5-1, then 5-3, and then 5-4. And like, geez. Then they have a runner on, the Pirates do. In the bottom of the ninth, they hit a fly ball out to left, and this ball is going to go, and the Pirates are going to win this game on a walk-off home run, and Nathan Church goes up and takes it away, and that's the last out of the game.
Wow.
You talk about drama. It doesn't get any more than that.
Yeah.
Guy takes it from over the fence to win the game. I mean, this is the way the Cardinals play. It gets your heart rate up. It's fun. It's frustrating. Then it's fun again. They are an entertaining bunch. They really are. They were getting no hit on Monday and got a hit in the 7th. And then in the 9th inning, they're down 2-0. Pedro Pajes hits a homer with 1 out. J.J. Weatherholt hits a home run to tie the game. Then they get a little squibber from Burleson that stays fair, and then Walker walks, and then with the bases loaded, Fermin doubles, and it's suddenly 4-2 Cardinals, and the Pirates are like, what just happened? 4 runs just like that from the Cardinals in the 9th inning, and they win it 4-2. So that's the type of ball that they're playing right now. Relentless, never give up, and at the same time, they don't have the talent level of some of these big teams. But look at the high payrolls that you have here. $370 million payroll for the Mets. They're terrible. They're in last place. The Phillies just fired their manager. The Red Sox just fired their manager. The AL champion Blue Jays are dealing with a losing record right now. Cardinals are 17-13 and 2 games out in the NL Central. Pretty fun stuff. Oh, by the way, the Dodgers come in this weekend. Big crowds, at least 30,000 for every game. Tickets are selling very well. The Cardinals are trending up. If you're buying stock, I would buy a stock in the Cardinals.
I was just thinking I went to the Dodgers series last year and was shocked. I mean, I know the sports bases are all over the country, sports fans. I was shocked at how many Dodgers fans were there. I swear they almost competed with the number of Cardinal fans who were in the stadium. Now, last year's team was not doing great, but every little kid had an Ohtani jersey on. I mean, the Dodgers brand is just
they're
everywhere.
the world's
They're
team
just
right
everywhere.
now. They are the world's team right now, especially in Japan with Ohtani and Yamamoto and Sasaki. It really is great for them. They're a big brand. You know, people do love the Dodgers, going back to Jackie Robinson and the history of baseball associated with the Dodgers. So it should make for a fun atmosphere. There'll be some Dodgers fans in there, but Cardinals fans are having some fun, and it should be a good weekend.
Should be. All right, cool. You got to run?
I do have to run.
I thought you had to go here.
Got to go do a sportscast.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tom.
Ethan's throwing up the numbers there.
Yep, he's letting you know.
All right, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
See ya.
Yeah, we'll see you. Appreciate that. Yeah, that's good. Kim, have you been to a baseball game this year?
No, not yet.
Are you going to go?
I hope to. I know my husband and I were talking about going.
Good. Gonna get a babysitter?
Yeah, it's hard. Easton's of that age where, we're probably more excited than he ever would be for us to take him to a game. I mean, we took him to a game when he was a baby, but, a 3-year-old sitting in the chair for more than an inning is maybe questionable.
That's when you want to get those free tickets that the radio station gives you occasionally to some of those games. Occasionally, we'll get an offer of some tickets here. Not very often, but occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't feel so bad because if the kid lasts for an inning and a half and, you haven't spent $300 on hot dogs and sodas and and another $100 on the tickets.
Well, do they still, Ethan, that deal that you got the other day where it was all you could eat, do they still have that going? That's going on throughout the season, right?
Yeah, I think so. The $29 deal?
They sell out quick, though.
Oh, I bet. That was a really good deal.
It really
It doesn't include alcohol. If it included alcohol, it'd be a great deal.
Oh, if it
those are still $80
be,
tickets.
Yeah, I mean, that's one drink will set you back like $15.
Truth. That's it. That is absolutely the truth. All right, coming up, we're going to get to another news for you. Next hour, can't wait to talk to Bevis Schock, attorney at Schock Law. He's been looking at this Voting Rights Act decision by the court yesterday, the implications maybe here in Missouri for the 1st congressional district, because Lord knows that one's been very tightly drawn for years and years to guarantee who was going to win that seat. And if it was drawn differently, the outcome would be very different. Is that on the board now? We're going to talk to Bevis about that coming up at about 7:35. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We've had a couple of issues on the roads, but mostly this morning it has just been road work and the usual volume. Now, it's road work that's causing a delay out west, eastbound on 70, east of Forestdale through Wentzville, and northbound 55 has a little bit of volume at 141 in the construction zone there, but most of it is north of there, starting around Bayless, where they dropped the left lane. Now, eastbound Highway 30 this morning is slowing, and this is east of Schumacher Road, kind of by Dillon Road. There was an accident reported east of there. This is before you even get to New Sugar Creek Road, and it's caused a delay in that area. Eastbound 70 looks fine from 79 into downtown. 6440 is in pretty good shape. We are quiet through North County and on the bridges if you're headed in from Illinois. Things look good there. This report brought to you by McKelvey Homes. The McKelvey Homes Spring Event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75%, savings up to $124K on move-in ready homes. Now, the event ends on May 31st. Schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Sue Thomas with Traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, you probably don't think about a lot of these things until it's an emergency. Now, if you're renovating a home or something like that, you probably need plumbing and electrical work. But for most of us, it is an emergency situation. Your main line is blocked coming out of the kitchen because of all the grease somebody poured down it. Whatever happens to be, Grasser can handle it all now. Grasser Electric is also Grasser Plumbing. Grasser Home Services is how they kind of renamed themselves, and they can do it all. They'll send out a plumber. They do same-day emergency service if that's the situation you got going on. Maybe it's just a leaky toilet that runs all the time and drives you nuts. You can call Grasser Electric, and they're going to get somebody out there and fix it for you. In fact, we're working on getting little Barrett and his dad into the studio here to talk about those adorable commercials that they're running these days because they sound so good. Just don't flush any little dinosaurs down the toilet is basically the point there. But anyway, they say the grass is always greener. The green is always grasser at Grasser Electric. That's it. And you can go online anytime and get your emergency service. You can go to grasserelectric.com.
Hey, it's Annie. Grab your clubs and head to Tamarack Golf Course on Friday, May 22nd for the St. Clair County Republicans annual golf tournament. Shotgun start, 18 holes, carts, contest, lunch, and great prizes. Learn more at 971talk.com/events.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Americans demanded border security, and House Republicans delivered. According to the Department of Homeland Security, for 10 consecutive months, U.S. Customs and Border Protection has reported 0 illegal aliens released at the border. I'm proud to have worked with the Trump administration to secure our southern border and uphold our immigration laws, and will keep fighting to advance strong policies that protect Missourians and keep America safe.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Corey from Air Comfort Service? Why are you standing next to my AC?
I'm standing behind our work.
But it's 8 p.m. You're just going to stand behind my air conditioner?
Yeah, pretty much.
Could you turn off the sprinkler then?
Absolutely. At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, we take pride in our work. If you need a new air conditioner or HVAC system, you can trust we'll install the equipment correctly. Plus, for a limited time, qualify for rebates up to $2,600 and 0% financing for up to 72 months. For a free estimate, visit aircomfortservice.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
All right, well, this is a bummer because on my bucket list of places I really want to go is Greece. I want to go to Greece and see the aisles and all that stuff and tour everything. Apparently, they're cracking down on tourists. They're going to have new limits on people being traveling to Greece, and I was really surprised about that, particularly the city of Athens. It wants stricter regulations. The mayor was quoted as saying he may consider capping the number of hotels in the city to combat over-tourism. We must not become Barcelona, he said. So a couple of European cities taking jabs at each other over there. I guess Barcelona's got more hotels than they can fill up, and they don't want that to happen in Greece. So.
I went to Barcelona years ago, and it's very touristy.
Is it? Well,
I've never been to Greece, but I mean, as irritating as that is for me as someone who would very much like to go to Greece, I can understand why they would want to do that.
Well, don't you think that would be like a big part of their GDP, though?
I would think.
Yeah, but I guess they're making enough as is that they don't necessarily need it. I don't know who would turn it down, but
they're pretty laid back. That's why they're laid back. They're laid back
in
Greece. They did go bankrupt because they let people retire at like age 50 on a full government salary. It's crazy.
We should definitely do that here.
Yeah.
That's what the Democrats would like.
Yeah, let's do that.
You have to see this wild video of people walking down roller coaster tracks after it malfunctioned in New England.
I saw it.
This is in Massachusetts. It was at the Six Flags there. This is the Superman ride. They were stuck for an hour, and then they just said, all right, you have to quite literally walk down the tracks. And the video is just wild.
But Sue, what would you do? Would you just stay up there? I mean, if that was the only way to get down?
Well, that's a good point, but I might be the last one left until they fix it.
You can carry me
down. They can bring in a crane and lift you out of there.
Send a mule.
So I didn't think about this, but this is a story in the Business Insider. It says that millennial daughters are depleting their savings, having to care for their aging boomer parents. And it's got a story about a lady here who despite her mother being fairly young at only 67, had a long time struggle with, alcohol abuse or something. So she was forced to move back in with her daughter, and then she had a stroke. And now the girl who works full-time in marketing has drained part of her retirement savings to care for her mother, who had to go into a memory care facility. $9,000 a month.
Dang.
And of course, none of that's covered by insurance. So apparently, this is just a growing problem across America. I can see it.
Yeah.
I've got a mother who's still in independent living. Bless her soul, because she's stubborn, but she should probably be in assisted living, and that doubles the price. Every new level you go up doubles the price. It's crazy.
The cost is just insane. The way that they do that.
Yes.
It's nuts. Did you hear that Amazon is floating the idea of a possible Apprentice reboot with Don Jr. as the host?
Well, it'd be cool. They could do it for a couple of years till Donald Trump's available again, and then he could take back over.
You know, I never watched that show when it was actually airing, but I started watching it within the last maybe year.
Yeah.
Just to see what it was like. And it's so interesting seeing Trump way back. He looks very much younger, and you're fired.
Well, it was kind of groundbreaking at the time, and now they've mimicked it with a lot of these other shows you see on reality TV these days with the bosses and, hiding and coming in and catching you doing things you shouldn't do.
Funny because so Tana Gertz, she was the runner-up on one of the seasons, and the TV station I worked at in Des Moines, Iowa, she was the wife of the former chief meteorologist there.
Oh, wow.
And she became Trump's Iowa press person. So when Trump canceled the interview because he was mad at my story, he felt like it was unfair. She's the one who was, I guess, riding with him on the jet. He saw the story and told her to tell our station that reporter that was ridiculous.
Oh,
I'm not coming. He wouldn't do the interview
so
because he
knows
was supposedly mad at my story.
So now we know why we haven't been able to get him on the Marc Cox
yeah,
Morning Show.
yeah.
There you go.
I
It
told Laura
explains
when I
everything.
met Laura Trump at the last year's Right to Life dinner. I mentioned that to her just for fun. She probably didn't care, but
I've seen Don Jr.'s name on a lot of these possible 2028 presidential candidate lists. Obviously, his dad went that route. I mean, it's a way to get your name known nationally as if his last name's not already known in the country.
I think the last name would be enough.
Well, I don't know if it
and
is.
the first name. He's
Yeah,
literally
that might
Donald
be. He's
Trump, just with
literally
a
Don
junior.
Trump Jr.
I don't know. It'd be interesting if he runs.
48. He would like that very much, I think. Don't you think? I think it would work. Oh, by the way, we might find out in May, which of course starts tomorrow, whether or not the NCAA is going to expand. We were talking about that with Ackerman earlier. They're supposed to make a decision by the middle of May on whether they're going to expand this thing to 76 teams. And then somebody will complain they didn't get in, and then they'll want it expanded to 100. Where does it stop? Stop the madness. That's what I say. All right. Coming up, we're going to get to Jim Talent, former senator, former congressman. We'll get his take on, of course, the redistricting decision, plus a legal opinion from Bevis Schock on how it might affect us right here in Missouri or Illinois. How about that? We'll do that at 7:35.
If you suffer from burning, tingling, or numb feet, pay special attention as we discuss neuropathy with Dr. Patton, D.C. Doctor, what is neuropathy?
Peripheral neuropathy is nerve damage to the feet and legs.
What are the symptoms?
The symptoms are numbness, burning, tingling, pain, and loss of balance.
Is neuropathy treatable?
It's absolutely treatable, and we have amazing results.
If you have burning, tingling, numbness, coldness in your feet or hands or balance issues, call us at Comprehensive Integrated Health today for a nerve damage screening. The screening will tell if you're at risk for serious complications and if you're a candidate for our cutting-edge treatment program. Don't wait until your symptoms are so severe nothing can be done. End-stage neuropathy leaves people confined to walkers, wheelchairs, and even amputations. The first 10 callers will receive a free nerve damage screening. Call 636-538-5188. That's 636-538-5188 for your free nerve damage screening. 636-538-5188.
Summer is on the way, or should I say the heat in St. Louis, it's on its way. Be here before we even know it. If you haven't had your air conditioners checked and set up and ready to go for this cooling season, or if you were told you might need a new one, or you just think this is the time of the year, this year is the time to just go ahead and replace it. Prices are down. 0% financing is available. It's still the best time to call me. Don't put it off. One easy number in Missouri and Illinois. It is 314-293-2600. Again, that's 314-293-2600 in Missouri and Illinois, or on the internet, bartinman.com. That is Bart with a B, Inman with an I. .com. God bless.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. If you're the victim of a careless driver due to no fault of your own, The only way to know what your case is worth is by uncovering the full extent of your injuries. At Kaufman Townsley, we work with the top doctors in St. Louis. We'll help you get the expert medical care you need and fight to get you the maximum money you deserve. Kaufman Townsley. Real people, real results. Call 314-777-7777.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy weight gain or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Operation Epic Fury is a shameful American failure. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is the message out today from Iran's supreme leader.
The written statement was read out on Iranian state TV. It quotes Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei as saying the only place Americans belong in the Persian Gulf is at the bottom of its waters. Iran's supreme leader adding that the bright future of the region will be one without America. He also promises to protect the Islamic Republic's nuclear and missile capabilities as a national asset.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The statement comes the day after President Trump said,
They've come a long way. The question is whether or not they're going to go far enough.
Warning them to, quote, get smart soon and agree to a deal that ends its nuclear weapons program.
Fox's Brian Yennis in Tel Aviv.
Axios reports the president is set to be briefed this morning on military options. Quote, CENTCOM has prepared a plan for a short and powerful wave of strikes on Iran, likely including infrastructure targets, in hopes of breaking the negotiating deadlock.
Now, oil prices are down a little this morning, but they've surged this week, and so is gas. The price at the pump up another 8 cents today. AAA's national average for regular $4.30 per gallon. That's up 19 cents since Monday. Now an update on the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack. Sources are telling Fox News the bullet that struck a Secret Service officer in his vest did come from the suspect's shotgun, not friendly fire. Cole Allen returns to court today for another hearing. He's charged with attempting to assassinate the president. They voted late last night in the House to approve a Senate process to fund immigration enforcement, getting around Democrats who've been holding up that money.
It allows congressional committees to start drafting legislation for it that could then be passed through the budget reconciliation process with no support needed from Democrats. The House is also sitting on a separate bill passed by the Senate last month to fund the rest of Homeland Security, and Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen warns money for those employees runs out next week.
That's Chris Foster. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Well, it's a pretty start to this Thursday morning, but it is chilly. You'll want to grab a jacket here if you're heading out the door at 7:03 because our temperature is just 42 degrees right now. I'm Kim Sainanj for 97.1 FM Talk. Well, if you've been missing mail, this might be why. A large pile of mail has been found dumped in a North St. Louis vacant lot. The Postal Service is now investigating exactly how it got there and also coming up with a plan to try to deliver it. The mail includes bills and even an insurance card for addresses all over St. Louis City, some even as far away as Ferguson. 11 students were injured after a school bus overturned in Carrollton, Illinois. The crash happened around 3:45 Wednesday afternoon on Highway 67. Police say a car going the opposite direction crossed over the center line. The Green School District bus driver then drove onto the shoulder trying to avoid the car, ended up going into a ditch and flipped over. 11 students on that bus and a staff member were then taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. St. Louis is now ranked second in the nation for the highest construction job growth. The region had about a 6% increase in construction jobs between last February and this February, totaling about 4,700 jobs. Only the Houston area added more than St. Louis at just over 11,000. In sports, Cards now just one game away from potentially sweeping the Pirates after beating them 5-4 yesterday. They'll be wrapping the series up with the day game today. First pitch is 11:35. And City SC beat Chicago in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Final score 2-1. 42 degrees now just before 7:05. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, not a bad commute at this hour. If you're just headed out, 70 eastbound, just a little bit of moderate volume at Wentzville and just past Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Then it opens up. Southbound 61, a little slow at 64. Now, eastbound 64 looks good. It's just some moderate volume at Hanley. And northbound 270, a little bit slow due to road work, especially just north of 64, and then things open up and look fine. If you are headed in from Illinois, we look fine on the Poplar Street Bridge. 55 northbound, that's a slow go at Bayless, and some moderate volume to the south. And other than that, we are fine. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
It's a beautiful Wednesday across St. Louis. Lots of sunshine. The northwest flow is in solid control. It's cool for this time of year, but it's nice. A little breezy as we go through the day. 68 for the high. That breeze again from the northwest. Tonight, clear skies. Pretty good temperature drop with the clear skies and light winds, and we're going down to a chilly 44. Thursday, sunny and 68. Friday, sunny and 62. The weekend looks quiet. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
42 degrees downtown right now at 7:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere on our free Odyssey app. You can also watch the show live. We're on every morning, 5 until 9. You can find us on Facebook, X, YouTube, and Rumble with our Window World webcam. Window World, simply the best for less.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show. Always in there working hard for you, trying to figure out what's going on, the latest in the news. I missed this earlier, Kim, and I was waiting on our very slow printer in there to print it off, which is why I was running late into the studio. Yesterday, and our friend Mark Walters reached out to me late last night. I think I must have been in bed already, and told me that the Justice Department is rolling back gun regulations as the Senate gets ready to confirm its new ATF chief. I guess that is Robert Cicada is his name.
What a last name.
Cekada, spelled differently than the pest that you find on trees. And he's made some decisions that are going to roll back and modify a whole slate of gun regulations that have, of course, been pushed by these anti-gunners, these gun activists over the years. And we're going to talk more about that this hour because I've got the information hot off the presses here, and there's lots of stuff to get to because these folks are crazy when it comes to what they want to do. They're already trying to blame the guns for what happened in Washington, D.C. on Saturday night instead of blaming the crazed leftist teacher from California who hopped on a train and drove all the way down here to Washington, D.C., just to try to kill the president of the United States.
You see the picture he posted, the selfie he took in his hotel room right before he went downstairs?
like he was playing some sort of Ninja Warrior game. Did you see that?
Yeah.
With
There we go, right there. Fox is playing it.
All black clothing on.
Like, oh, I'm awesome. You know what one of my favorite pictures is? Someone took a picture of Donald Trump taking a picture of the shooter, and Trump's crouching down, and he's like
That's AI.
No, it's
That's
not.
not a real picture.
Are you sure?
Trump was nowhere near him.
Are you sure?
No, I saw it. It's doctored.
Gosh, okay. See, I'd like to think I'm a logical person. And
They didn't bring Trump to the lobby where the guy was still hogtied let Trump take pictures of him.
Oh, I could totally see Trump saying he wants to do that, because it's kind of like you suck, you tried to take me out, you clearly weren't successful. Yeah. I could see, with the amount of Secret Service and the fact that the guy was cuffed and, all the officers standing right next to him and quite literally over him, I could see Trump doing it.
Well, I could see him.
I do not like AI for this reason.
I could see him wanting to do it. I don't think that picture was doctored. I think that was like almost a Babylon Bee type.
Really?
Picture. Yeah.
Man.
I believe so. I believe so.
Womp womp. All right, AI. If that's true, you got me.
All right, coming up, we're going to get to Jim Talent. We'll get his take on what's going on in D.C. Of course, they're trying to fund DHS in a reconciliation bill. It sounds like that's sort of been forced. They did some deal making, and they're trying to force it through the House. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that with Jim Talent and his thoughts on this SCOTUS ruling yesterday dealing with the Voting Rights Act. I mean, the adult drop and flops we've watched out of D.C. Have absolutely been ridiculous. I mean, just what an overreaction. And it's an image of a party that is watching its power slip away. And that's why they're freaking out. They don't care. The Democratic Party doesn't care that this might affect minority-majority districts. What they care is that these districts were guaranteed Democrat votes. That's all they care about. They could care less. They're trying to argue that it's the government trying to pick its voters instead of the other way around, the voters picking the government. That's not it at all. They're just mad that they might lose a few seats in the House. They're freaking out over it, and of course using the race label to cover their tracks, and nothing could be further from the truth. We're going to talk to Bevis Schock about that coming up here at about 7:35. Could it affect Missouri CD1? I don't know for sure, but I certainly think that's a possibility, because it affected when they did the redistricting over on the Kansas City side. That was a very tightly drawn district as well, to guarantee Emmanuel Cleaver's seat over there. And that's now gone. And the Supreme Court upheld that. So we'll see what Bevis has to say about that, and we'll get to Kim on a whim for the end of the hour. Next hour, Shannon Bream will join us as well. But right now, I want to get to some of our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
The United Arab Emirates, the UAE, they pulled out of OPEC.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think it's great. Look, I know him very well, Mohammed, and very smart. And he probably maybe wants to go his own way. That's a good thing. I think ultimately it's a good thing for getting the price of gas down.
That's right. I told you yesterday, we talked about it in the business segment with Taylor Riggs, the OPEC losing a key member like the UAE. The UAE is the country that forms the horn in the Strait of Hormuz. Think about that. If that country is no longer part of OPEC and they build a pipeline from one end of the ocean to the other shore, they could completely bypass the Strait of Hormuz. This is only good news for the United States.
I think really it's incumbent upon everybody, but particularly those who are driving some of the narratives that Donald Trump, that Donald Trump has somehow invited this violence upon himself, that killing your political opponents is somehow justified. If you're engaged in that kind of rhetoric, you need to check yourself.
Yeah, there you go. I would agree with that. That is the vice president yesterday talking about the fact that the violence here is all coming from one side, and don't buy any of the nonsense arguments that it's not.
I don't think that I would be in Congress if I had gotten married and had kids. And that doesn't say that married people with kids can't be in Congress, but I think for my particular journey. And so I will say that I'm trusting his timing.
Yes.
And I personally believe that it was better that someone meet me after all of this.
Because this Congress thing is a whole different thing, says Jasmine Crockett, just so you understand. She had to become somebody she wasn't in order to get elected to the United States House. Seriously.
He hasn't shown up at all. And by the way, he's completely funded by 3 Zionist billionaires.
MTG at it again, blaming the Jews. Whose show do you think she was on, Kim, when she did that?
Tucker Carlson.
Tucker Carlson. Imagine that. He brings on Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're now suddenly two of the biggest anti-Zionists in the world who are convinced that the Jews are the root of all evil. What happened to these two individuals? I do not get it. I don't begin to pretend to get it. But here's the background on this story, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tucker Carlson were talking about Thomas Massey's seat in Kentucky because Trump said he's a no on everything. Whatever the Republicans vote for, Thomas Massey's a no. Doesn't matter what it is, he's a no. Just an automatic no. And Trump basically said, we need to primary this guy. We got to get somebody in here we can work with. Even if he's with us half the time, he's better than Thomas Massey. And so they've got a candidate running against him down there, and that's what they were talking about. And MTG's excuse to not vote for this guy is that he's completely funded by the Jews. Listen.
He hasn't shown up at all. And by the way, he's completely funded by 3 Zionist billionaires, 100% funded, that have given tens of millions of dollars, and they don't even live in his district. They couldn't relate to Kentucky. That they only know about Tel Aviv. It's the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen happen.
So, MTG is kind of a little off her rocker, but I mean,
she sounds like Cori Bush.
But
hey, Pat, I'm going to destroy you. Remember that?
But the whole I do. But the whole funding thing of who these people are backed by, that is such a problem. And I'm not saying that that's actually true what she's trying to claim. But this whole idea of these groups can come in and pour money into someone's campaign, and then they, of course, in turn, feel like they owe them a little something. And that's the way the group wants it.
The dark money argument, we can continue to have that. And in this case, it's not dark money because they know exactly who the donors are. So are they from Israel? Well, no, because foreign people citizens are not supposed to be able to contribute. So they must be American Jews who are contributing to this guy's campaign.
But whether it's dark money and they're doing something sketchy about it, or it's out there in the open and we know who it is, it's still, I get this gross feeling about it because we know that they're likely being influenced by the groups contributing to their campaign.
Well,
How can they not be?
Unless you're independently wealthy like Donald Trump.
And I get why that's not realistic either, but it's just not a good system the way it's set up.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's definitely got its weaknesses in some of those respects for sure. All right, coming up, Jim Talent. We'll get his take on the redistricting and much more right after this.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident reported southbound 61 at Pittman. So if you're headed towards 64 and 70 this morning, there's a jam behind it. We've got an accident southbound 170 approaching Brentwood. That one started in the left lane. Now eastbound 70 between, looks like the 64 split in downtown is really okay. 64 just a little slow at Big Bend. Northbound 270, most of the volume there is between 55 and Highway 30, and then it jams just north of 64. And there was an accident this morning on eastbound Highway 30 before Little Brennan, and that has created a jam behind it. Now 55, of course, slowing at Bayless, but we look fine on the bridges downtown if you're headed in from Illinois. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's choice for transforming homes, and they do inside and out. Windows, siding, kitchens, baths, and outdoor spaces, and they deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Go to lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You never know who you're going to run into at Lit Cigar Lounge. I stopped by the other night, Tuesday night. Mentioned that there was some big concert going on at the factory, and I walked in, and then I see Brian and Dana, who run the place because it's a family-run operation, and Andrew, just great people, and they're having a bourbon tasting with my friends from the St. Louis Bourbon Society. So I got to see a bunch of people I knew down there. I'm always running into people and say, hey, I heard you talking about this on the radio. I decided to come and check it out. Fantastic for business meetings, fantastic for just relaxing. If there's a sporting event on you want to watch, all the big screen TVs. Once again, they have a great Guinness tap down there that's brand new, and I was able to enjoy a nice cold Guinness when I stopped by. Whatever you're looking for, Lit Cigar Lounge has it for you. They've got another grand opening of sorts of their VIP lounge. They're going to rename it the Diamond Crown Lounge, and they're going to celebrate that on the 8th of this month, of course, which is a Friday, the 8th of May, I should say, which is a Friday. And you could go down there and listen to Charles Glenn, who's going to be down there playing music. That's fantastic. That's, again, May 8th, starting at about 6 o'clock. And they're going to have some food. They're going to have that live music and a fun night with a lot of different offerings. Just one more reason to stop by Lit Cigar Lounge. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. You can check them out online at litstl.com.
Bringing a data center online takes more than equipment. It takes precision. Graybar helps customers predict, stage, schedule, deliver, and verify every step of the build with critical products that are available now. From networking and wireless to critical power and testing tools, our teams help you reduce downtime risk and keep projects on track. Speed, scale, ready now. Yep, Graybar does that.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
How much it will cost Americans in terms of their increased cost in gas and food over the next year because of the Iran war?
I would simply ask you what the cost is of an Iranian nuclear bomb.
I'm going to give you that opportunity.
I would simply ask you what you're playing gotcha questions about domestic things. I'm not.
You're saying it's a gotcha question to ask what it's going to be in terms of the increased cost of gas.
Why won't you answer what it costs to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear bomb?
I give you that, sir. But let me.
What would it cost? What would you pay to ensure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb? What would you pay?
We got our friend Jim Talent back on with us this morning. And Jim, obviously Pete Hegseth having it out with Ro Khanna there yesterday in Congress. I don't know if you got to see any of that, but it got pretty heated.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. I think what Khanna asked is a fair question, and I think I would have answered it by saying, well, we've got gas prices higher temporarily. They're going to go down, and they're going to stay down longer because we are producing oil, and the oil market internationally is going to be shifting to the United States. The Strait is going to open, and everything will settle down, and then we're going to have a much more peaceful Middle East and a much more secure United States. So, to me, this is I wouldn't even call it long term. I think an intermediate term major gain. So, but I thought Hegseth handled himself very well because what he did was he kept going back to what the object of this conflict is and how good that is for American security and the American people.
Yeah, it got quite confrontational at times. I've got a few more bites from him this morning, but at the end of the day, some of the Democrats really carried it too far. Play cut 12 for us real quick. This is Democrat Seth Moulton here, please.
Oh.
Do you believe that the Secretary of Defense is guilty of war crimes?
Absolutely. I mean, he's clearly behind the operation to shoot all these boats in the Caribbean when it's very unclear that we actually have any confirmation that these so-called narco-terrorists, a term the administration invented to justify this action, are even on the boats.
All right, so that's Seth Moulton. He went on to conclude and to warn Hegseth that other people convicted of war crimes have been executed. I mean, it's the noise from the left over some of this stuff, even in light of the attempted assassination of the president Saturday night, the rhetoric continues to come from the left.
Yeah, and this is one of the problems the Democrats have. They can't attack the policy. The policy is to stop narco-terrorism. And, we've talked about that before on the show. I mean, narco-terrorism describes groups that are combinations of gigantic drug-running, sex trafficking, criminal gangs, and irregular armies. They're a major threat to the American people in our hemisphere. And, of course, when we find them on the high seas, we ought to take them out. But they don't want to attack that. So instead they turn around and say, well, this is a war crime. It renders these terms meaningless. I mean, it's not in the same universe as a war crime. So, but what are they going to do? They don't want to stand up there and say, well, we actually are for narco-terrorism. So instead, they resort to these claims about international law that aren't true and aren't relevant anyway. I mean, it's pretty frustrating.
Yeah, Jim, any thoughts on the Voting Rights Act decision by the Supreme Court yesterday?
Yeah, I think it's another in a series of the court's decisions saying, look, the Constitution is basically colorblind. In other words, the Constitution says we treat people, as individuals, and that means we do not treat them and segregate them or categorize them according to the color of their skin, which is what I always believed growing up, and I think the court is restoring that balance now. So, yeah, I applaud it.
We see, as far as the justices go for the Supreme Court, the three liberal justices always seem to vote the same way. And you have had some of those conservative justices rule with them. And as irritating as that is, because it doesn't go my way, there's a level of respect I have as far as, okay, I feel like you're genuinely trying to interpret the Constitution and rule in that way. How do we handle this? There's really not much we can do, but I mean, what's your interpretation of how this plays out as far as those three liberal justices consistently voting the same way?
Well, when you believe that as a judge, your job is to understand and apply the law, then you're constrained by the law. When you're trying to get a particular policy outcome, well, then you are going to tend to vote in a block as if you were in the Congress. And now I think, Kim, what you said is a little bit of an overstatement. I think that the liberals do on some of these issues, and particularly Kagan will vote with the conservatives. But you're right, they tend to vote as a block. There was a similar situation in the 40s, and Justice Frankfurter called these three justices who were voting all the time together in his notes. He called them the Axis, which was interesting because this was the 1940s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, what we want are judges who believe that they are constrained by the law and the Constitution, just as other actors in the government should be.
Well, to believe that the government should, through policy, dictate racial preference, which is what was going on in these districts, you've got to be a judicial activist. I mean, that's not what the Constitution says. And the dissent in this case was longer than the decision.
Yeah, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were adopted to prevent that, right?
Yes.
And so to interpret them in a way that allows it or even requires it is an inversion of what the Constitution says. And I can't think of anything worse for the country than reintroducing racial discrimination under the guise of preventing it. And I think this is an area where the chief has been very good. Remember, he said a few years ago, the way to end racial discrimination is to stop discriminating on the basis of race, which is, again, that's a policy of the Constitution and the administration. So, and of the court as well.
Yeah, hopefully people will start paying some attention. Jim, thank you so much for your time, as always.
No, you're welcome.
You have a good morning. Always good conversation with Mr. Talent. Appreciate him giving us some time here. Coming up, we're going to talk to Bevis Schock, attorney from Schock Law, and his take on the Voting Rights Act.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Accident, and this one is southbound 61 at Pittman. And if you are traveling in that area, we've got a pretty good jam going behind that. Pittman, by the way, just north of 64 and 70. Also an accident southbound 170 approaching Brentwood Boulevard. That one started in the left lane. They've been trying to get that off to the right-hand side. We've got some volume this morning. There was an accident reported on 364, really close to Hackman Lumber in that area, so just past Old 94. So if you're traveling in that area, that's the cause of the delay. 55 northbound, most of the volume is right at 270 and then again at Bayless. We've also got some volume, though, ramping on from eastbound 40 to northbound 270 and some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Honey, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Oh, you are, but this one's certified, background check, shows up on time, and can install all the ceiling fans.
Heating, cooling, electrical, and plumbing. Trusted pros who do it right.
So you are officially out of time today. Today is the day. I need you to take action today if you want to have a chance at winning $5,000 toward new garage doors or openers or, front entry doors, whatever it is you're looking for that they do at Overhead Door Company. You have a deadline. So at the end of the month of April, which is today, they're going to pick a winner, and you need to get your name in. The only way to do that is to go to overheaddoorstlouis.com, and it's free. There's no obligation. You just enter your name for the drawing, and they're going to randomly pick a winner to get $5,000 toward new entry doors of your choice, new garage doors, openers, and best of luck to you. Anyway, if you need service, I'm also going to recommend the Overhead Door Company. You'll see their vans driving around all over the place, their work trucks with the red ribbon on it. Just so you know, that's the original Overhead Door Company, the one and only. They do emergency service as well, so they won't leave you stuck. Call them at 314-781-5200. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Again, it's overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Missouri Brush Control is helping landowners reclaim their property with selective land clearing. Whether it's for a building site, pasture reclamation, hunting, or trail creation, Missouri Brush Control can transform your unusable acreage into accessible and productive property. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. 5-star rated on Google reviews. See impressive before and after projects today at MissouriBrushControl.com. Missouri Brush Control, making acreage great again. Tell them Bo Matthews sent you to MissouriBrushControl.com.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and zero res. Marc Cox here. Buy one room of carpet, get one clean for free, unlimited rooms, and whole system duct cleaning for just $5.99. Visit ZeroResSTL.com.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
From Troy, Missouri to Troy, Illinois. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Justices in a 6-3 vote, a decision written by Justice Samuel Alito for the other 5 conservatives, are striking down a second majority black district in Louisiana, ruling that state officials focused on race, and that amounted to an unconstitutional racial gerrymander. Now,
yeah, that was Jan Crawford from CBS News yesterday when this news first broke. I asked Bevis Schock to join us from Schock Law this morning, who we've caught at the airport, I guess. But, Bevis, we appreciate you giving us some time.
Hey, I'm delighted to talk about this. It's a really important topic today. It's a huge benefit to the country, in my opinion. Obviously, many people think otherwise, but I think it's going to be great.
Well, so break it down for us. I mean, basically, what they said is if you're not going to discriminate, then don't discriminate, right?
Well, let me start with the history and the competing interests. First is that after the Civil War, we passed what were called the Reconstruction Amendments. Number 15 said you can't stop people from voting by their race. The expectation was that the Southern slave owners wouldn't let slaves vote, so we're going to stop that. But that's a good thing. Everybody agree with that, right?
Right.
Constitution says that states have the power to draw congressional districts. That's just how it is. And part quiz, what do all politicians want? Answer, power.
Yep.
Right? So if states, legislatures are drawing districts, they're always going to do it to maximize their power. Fair?
Sure.
Okay. Now, so you can see how those would be competing interests, because a lot of people think that people with a darker hue, more melanin in their skin, vote as a block. I don't happen to agree with that, but I think there's some evidence of it. I mean, the old joke is, how many black people do you have to know to be aware that they don't all think alike? The answer is 2.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
Okay, so historically, there's been this law, the Voting Rights Act, I don't know, 80 years old or something, that basically let the legislatures draw and kind of told them they should draw in urban areas black districts. So in our region, the first district, which was held by the Clay family for 70 years or something, was the black district. North St. Louis, North County, that's where black people live. We'll draw the district around them. Black people will get their own congressman. Okay, that's how we were going to do it. But it was explicit in everybody's mind that that's what was going on, and that was repeated all over the country. So then the legislature of Louisiana a few months ago said, hey, let's redo it so there are 2 of those. Now, in the current world, political consultants break down voting by precinct. They're little tiny, a few block area, and they know how different areas vote very clearly. And what they're always trying to do to get their power for their side is draw those districts so that they get enough votes from the Democrat side or the Republican side, if the Republicans are in power, to ensure that they will maximize their count of congressmen from their state. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. Yeah.
Clear enough? All right. Now, So the Louisiana legislature is Democratic, I guess. So they say, well, we'll make 2 black districts, and they were quite explicit about it. And I'm going to give you an idea now that's called a disparate impact case. Okay, a district impact case is where you look at a situation and say, hey, this is coming out worse for black people than white people. Obviously, there's discrimination going on, and so we're going to have to make an adjustment. Those are commonly used in police contexts where they say, the black people are getting locked up more than the white people.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, now, here's the critical thing. The Supreme Court yesterday said there are going to be no more disparate impact cases. That's the first part of the opinion. And the second part of the opinion is that you can't intentionally consider race. Now, I want to break those 2 out one by one. First, the disparate impact cases, that's really important. We're not going to do that. We're not going to say, this one's got more black people than white people. Obviously, that's wrong. That's out. But the second part says you can't intentionally consider race. Now, we all know if legislators want power, and if there's merit to the idea that black people, even though each black person has his or her own beliefs about everything, if you still think they kind of bloat as a Democrat bloc, which there's a lot of evidence for, the legislatures are going to consider that. They just won't say they're doing it.
Sure.
That's the effect of the opinion.
Yeah.
But these guys, go ahead.
So what do you think it means then for the first congressional district? Because it's pretty clear. NPR here did a story on this back in December that, if they change the Voting Rights Act, the first congressional district is going to be at risk. And they go out and they find, State Senator Lakeisha Bosley, who says this is racist. Period. End. Stop. They're racist. They're just trying to see that we're not represented. Well, I mean, in a democracy, if you've got 800,000 people in a congressional district, you identify with whichever party represents your point of view. If you care that much about it, you run for office. They pick a candidate. That's the person that's up on the ballot. I don't see how they don't redraw the first district after this ruling.
Well, Mark, they're going to do it over and over, but they're going to say it's not about race.
Well, of course not.
It is about race, but they're just going to deny it. So over in Kansas City, there was a big stew in the legislature over whether there would be a so-called black district or not. This happened a couple years ago. And I mean, those guys in the legislature battled back and forth, and the super conservative, power-mad Republican side said, screw it, we're going to divide up these precincts so both of them come out about 55% Republican rather than one being 20% Republican and the other being 80% Republican. The latter method would be 80% Democrat, so it would be a for sure Democrat district. They put all the black people in that one. Now, you remember that whole thing a couple years ago?
Sure. Emanuel Cleaver held that seat for ages.
Right.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day in Missouri, I guess this was in 2021 or something. At the end of the day, they said, okay, let's leave it like it is. And that was called the One Black District Plan, which was North St. Louis. But I think what we all need to understand going forward is what's going to happen. The legislatures are going to divide up these districts to maximize whichever party is in power in the legislature getting more congressional seats. Period. That's what's going to happen. They're going to use black voting as a block as a factor, and they're just not going to mention it.
I mean, that was
going to happen.
That was my question earlier. Mark and I were discussing about Illinois because they drew their congressional map. It's super wonky when you look at it, but Mark was making the point that they would have to prove that it's racially motivated versus politically. Does that make sense?
Right. And I think that is now going to be almost impossible as long as legislatures don't say it.
Yeah.
Which of course that's a silly and a joke. Now, we could ask our legislators to be fair and say, hey, why don't we divide this thing up? What do we have? 8 now? We're about a 60% Republican. Really, what we ought to have in Missouri is probably 5 Republicans and 3 Democrats. in our representative be fair. Now, up in Massachusetts, I don't know, 35% of the people are Republicans. They don't have any Republican congressmen at all, I don't think. What we could do, of course, which would be funny, would be to let a computer do it just sort of by population cluster and take the power-mad politicians out of it. But that's that to me would make some sense. I don't think it's good that California, they have about 50 congressmen out there. I think 48 of them are Democrats.
Yep.
I'm making up the numbers, but it's not far off. Texas, I think it's the other way, and Florida. I mean, if you're in Florida and you're a Democrat, you're maybe a fair-minded, good person. I know it strikes us odd that there could be Democrats who are fair-minded, good people, but I know some of them. and they deserve representation in these heavy Republican states.
Yeah, I don't know. I we'll see where this goes. I think that they'll look at the first and maybe divvy it up a little bit. They were even talking about the last map they drew, that they redrew it in such a way that it still maintained enough of an African American population that it was going to guarantee that that's who the candidate would be in the first. I don't know if that's what happened. We could have 8-0 in Missouri here before long, I think, Bevis.
We could, and I don't think that would be good. Because there are Democrats, and they got to have some representation. Now, I have a friend who, when the Clays were in office, and then when particularly Cori Bush was in office, he lived in the district. He said, "That person is not my congressman." I said, "Well, of course that person is your congressman.
Yeah.
You live in the district." That's how,
it's like saying he's not my president.
Oh, that gets so irritating.
Not my president. Of course, he's your president.
Right.
He's elected.
Well, Bevis, listen. Have fun on your little vacation, and thanks for giving us some time from the airport today.
Okay, it's really good to talk to you, and I'm so glad, and I hope the public understands this thing, because it's really a big deal to say. Remember, the first part that's important is no more disparate impact cases.
Yep.
To repeat that, that's when you look only at the outcome and not what the inputs were.
Yep, it's a good point. All right, have a safe trip. We'll talk soon.
Okay, bye.
All right, Bevis Schock there from Schock Law. SchockLaw.com is the website. Interesting to get his take on that. There you have it. Yep. What's coming up in Kim on a Whim?
Well, the other day, the FBI raided nearly 24 of these mostly Somali-owned, potentially fraudulent businesses across Minnesota. Governor Walz is trying to take credit for it, and I have to give J.D. Vance credit here. Man, he had a hilarious analogy for what Walz is trying to do.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Hey, some good news in traffic. They've cleared that accident southbound 170 near Brentwood Boulevard. Crews, though, still on the scene of the accident on 364-94 northbound just past Junk Station Road, and that's causing a delay. We've also got some volume, a huge jam, I should say, on southbound 61. This is all due to an accident that's at Pittman, which is just north of 70, and it has created a parking lot jam behind it. Now, eastbound 70 is slow, headed for the Wentzville area this morning, and then just some moderate volume here and there into downtown. 64 lines up, but it's mainly approaching Timberlake Manor. Then you get a break and find some slow pockets between Lindbergh and Big Bend. Westbound slows at Hampton already. Northbound 55 jams. And that is, of course, mainly at Bayless, headed into the work zone. Accident reported on eastbound 44 east of Bowles. Northbound 270, slow pockets between 55 and just past 64. Also some volume now westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge and northbound Route 3 at the bridge as well. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
What's happening now?
He appears to reference a motive.
Is happening here.
He writes this quote, administration officials, they are targets.
It doesn't happen to people that don't do anything. We're going to continue to do a great job.
97.1 FM Talk.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum-sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youreye.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a Whim.
Kim on a Whim is proudly brought to you by Missouri Brush Control. Enjoy your land the way you've always dreamed of. Learn more at MissouriBrushControl.com.
You can thank some 20 whatever he is years old, Nick Shirley, the YouTuber, for the reason why the FBI went and raided nearly 24 Minnesota, mostly Somali-owned businesses yesterday.
Did they leer anything?
Well, they did raid the Quality Leering Center, but remember, what was it, like a day after that whole video went viral from Nick Shirley, they quickly changed the Quality Leering Center sign to the Learning Center. But the damage had already been done. There's hats out there. There's sweatshirts. That's just embarrassing. But anyway, they're going through all these businesses because they are supposedly taking millions of dollars in taxpayer money, and they're not even really offering any of the services that they're claiming to offer, whether it be autism care or a daycare. There's just so much sketchiness going on. And I just have to laugh because Governor Tim Walz tries to take credit for this. Now, I will say that the DOJ is saying that there was a partnership with local officials, local law enforcement, but I mean, there was so much pushback for so long from the state of Minnesota. So this seems like it's a new kind of deal that they have worked out where they were saying, all right, let's just take care of this. But Governor Walz puts this message out. He goes, today's raids by state and federal law enforcement happened because our state agencies caught irregular behavior and reported it. That's how the system is supposed to work, and our agencies will keep it at that as long as there are fraudsters around to put behind bars. If you commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to get caught, and that's exactly what we saw today. We catch criminals when state and federal agencies share information. Joint investigations work, and securing justice depends on it. That's embarrassing, Tim Walz.
It's laughable.
They are not raiding you guys because you caught the irregular behavior and reported it. They are raiding them because, like I said, some 20-year-old kid, Nick Shirley, went there and exposed all of it, and now you're potentially going to be prosecuted if they can draw some sort of a connection to the fact that you knew this was going on or you even allowed it, that maybe you were taking money from some of these people in exchange for a don't tell anyone that this is going on.
Or in exchange for some of that money better end up back in my campaign coffers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
JD Vance, he makes some really funny analogy to Tim Walz trying to take credit for this. Here you go.
This is like the arsonist trying to claim credit for the work of the fire department because Tim Walz let this fraud happen under his watch. Whether he was complicit in it directly himself or just turned a blind eye towards it, we really did not get much help at all from the governor's office.
It's like an arsonist praising the fire department or trying to take credit for the fire going out. I'm sorry, you set the fire. You contributed to the problem. Therefore, you can't take credit for it. Arsonist and Tim Walz.
It's not unlike the VRA thing, the voting rights thing. I mean, this is not a problem that existed when the Voting Rights Act was passed. It has happened since then. And much of it's been intentional, just like this thing with Waltz. To now try to claim that, well, we're the ones that uncovered it and you wouldn't even know about it if it wasn't for us. You knew about it before they ever picked you as vice president, and you kept it quiet because you didn't want it to hurt your party's chances of winning the presidency. Period. The timeline is very clear. It's been going on for at least 2 years, dating back prior to the last election.
Oh, I'll bet you longer than that.
Yeah.
Remember they changed the state flag of Minnesota, and it had some weird similarities to the Somali flag.
Oh, it did. Yes, I do remember that.
You just have to wonder, in light of what's going on. Okay, Walls, were you inspired by your friends who were dumping a bunch of money secretly into your account in exchange for what you were doing, which was keeping it quiet?
I did not think about that.
It's just the fraud is so deep and it's so disgusting, and it's certainly not just in Minnesota. They've been exposing it in New York. They've been exposing it in California. And I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Think about how much taxpayer money has been spent and been going to these fraudsters for these services, like the Medicare services in the state of California, and no one's actually receiving said service. It's disgusting. And
did you hear they caught him with the hospice fraud? I heard this on the Brian Kilmeade show yesterday. In fact, they had somebody on talking about it. They caught them because the people that had been billed for hospice care, hospice is end of life. The people that had been billed for hospice care and were presumed to be therefore dead because you don't recover from hospice care. Now, I mean, maybe it's not always just in a fatal situation, but I think it is mostly in situations where people are at end of life. These people went out and applied for car loans or popped up at a college somewhere, and they're like, wait a minute, you're not dead. Like, they started realizing these people have been billing for, and many of them weren't even aware that their names have been used. It was all fraudulent. Hundreds of millions of dollars at stake.
Oh, yeah.
All across California. And wasn't Shirley one of the ones that unveiled that?
He's been all over.
He really has.
I mean,
it's
he was
pretty amazing.
He was going
for
up to
his
these
age.
businesses that had blacked out windows. The door was locked. If they even opened the door, the person didn't even really speak English. And when he'd asked, "Oh, hey, can I see this or that information about your business?" they'd scream at him or say that they couldn't provide that. I mean, it was very basic information. And then what was also very interesting was he would go to the parking lot and he would see these people trying to get the heck out of Dodge after he was exposing them, and they'd be driving away in like a Tesla, some fancy ritzy car that most of us would probably not be able to afford. And somehow, with their little daycare or autism center that was kind of in this rundown area, they're able to afford that ritzy car.
Did you see the headline in the New York Post today? Type nypost.com and look at it. It's a picture of Tim Walz, and it says, "Hushed on fraud. An ex-Minnesota state trooper reveals how the state tried to cover up fraud allegations, and then Waltz shut down his department when he wouldn't stay quiet about it." That's the lead story.
And talking about how the Quality Leering Center has been officially abandoned.
It's been totally abandoned after the FBI conducted a massive fraud raid and didn't find any children. It's awful when you go into a Leering Center and there's nobody in there leering. Telling you. All right, coming up, Shannon Bream. She'll have a thing or two to say. She was at the Supreme Court yesterday trying to interpret this decision moments after it dropped. We'll get her thoughts on it today at about 8:20.
The Cards, the Pirates.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 11:35. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
How would you like a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter of St. Louis, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer? Give yourself peace of mind now by calling for a free estimate. 314-499-2020 or GeneratorSupercenterofStLouis.com.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at OverheadDoorStLouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at OverheadDoorStLouis.com.
According to MasterCard, nearly half of small businesses have been a victim of a cyber attack. As cybercrime escalates, ThrottleNet is calling on businesses to strengthen their security posture by taking a free online IT security audit right from your desk. This 3-minute online assessment provides an immediate score to see security gaps and vulnerabilities in your network. For 26 years, ThrottleNet has supported your business IT everything right here in St. Louis. In fact, no client of ThrottleNet has ever paid a ransom. So visit throttlenet.com/971 to take the free assessment today.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to hear you.
Hey, Dad, isn't it good to see ya?
Yep, but with smoke alarms, we need to hear them. If one alarm is downstairs, you might not hear it upstairs.
At school, everyone hears the fire alarm.
That's why we install hardwired smoke alarms that all go off together, just like school.
Smoke alarms done the right way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeServices.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The head of U.S. Central Command will head to the White House today. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. As President Trump insists Iran has not come far enough in the negotiations.
At this moment, there will never be a deal unless they agree that there will be no nuclear weapons.
And Fox's Jackie Heinrich reports.
Today, President Trump will be briefed on possible military plans by CENTCOM commander. According to reports, though, he has already expressed a preference for an extended naval blockade, saying it is more effective at degrading what's left of the Iranian regime and also reducing its revenue generators like its oil.
But Iran's supreme leader's defiant. In a statement read on state TV today, calling the U.S. military operation a shameful failure, vowing to protect Iran's nuclear and missile capabilities. Oil prices are down now, but they've surged this week, and so is the price at the gas pump, up 8 more cents today. AAA's national average for regular at $4.30 per gallon. A new report just out shows inflation rose last month at the fastest pace in nearly 3 years, but the economy's gotten stronger.
The gross domestic product rose 2% in the first quarter, bouncing back from a weak 0.5% annual increase at the end of last year.
Fox's Ginny Casola. Cole Allen returns to court in 2 hours, the suspect in the White House Correspondents' Dinner attack, for a detention hearing. As sources tell Fox, a shot he fired did hit a Secret Service officer who was spared by his bulletproof vest.
Investigators argue Allen planned extensively for this attack, checking the president's schedule online and watching live coverage of the dinner before storming past a security checkpoint. The Justice Department says a Secret Service officer saw Allen fire the shotgun in the direction of the stairs leading to the ballroom before he was arrested.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. The House has voted to reauthorize a controversial foreign surveillance program considered key for national security ahead of an expiration at midnight. The House also approved a budget blueprint to fund immigration enforcement using a process Democrats can't block. America's listening to Fox News.
If you want unlimited talk, text, and data on a crazy fast network, Big Wireless will sell it to you right now for as little as $70 a month. Or you can buy it from Pure Talk for half of that. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data for just $34.99 a month. Stop paying the big guys twice what you need to. Dial pound 250, say my name. That's pound 250 micro to switch to Pure Talk, where the savings are truly unlimited.
My name is Christine, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, was a healthy 34-year-old, and 3 months later, he was gone. Thankfully, he had life insurance. Ethos made it so easy. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. 100% online, no medical exam. Life insurance didn't take away the loss, but it did give us the space to just grieve.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/save. Ethos.com/save. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Welcome into this Thursday morning, April 30th. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. Well, it's sunny out there, but it is certainly chilly. 42 degrees at 8:03. Well, if you've been missing mail, this might be why. A large pile of mail has been found dumped in a North St. Louis vacant lot. The Postal Service is now investigating how it got there and also coming up with a plan to try to deliver it. The mail includes bills and even an insurance card for addresses all over St. Louis City, even some as far away as Ferguson. 11 students were injured after a school bus overturned in Carrollton, Illinois. The crash happened around 3:45 Wednesday afternoon on Highway 67. Police say a car going the opposite direction crossed over the center line. The Green School District bus driver drove into the shoulder trying to avoid that car, ended up hitting a ditch and flipped over. 11 students on that bus and a staff member were taken to a hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. St. Louis is now ranked second in the nation for the highest construction job growth. The region had about a 6% increase in construction jobs between last February and this February, totaling about 4,700 jobs. Only the Houston area added more than St. Louis, coming in at just over 11,000. All right, in sports, Cardinals now just one game away from sweeping the Pirates after beating them yesterday 5-4. They'll be wrapping up that series with a day game. First pitch this morning is 11:35. And City SC beat Chicago in the U.S. Open Cup round of 16. Final score 2-1. Just before 8:05 here on this Thursday, 42 degrees. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
On the roads this morning, we've got an accident eastbound 364 before eastbound 94, and they've been blocking the right lanes. Traffic is jammed behind it. Now, eastbound 70 does have some slow pockets. It's mainly moderate volume, but approaching Wentzville into the city. 64, most of the volume there is approaching Timberlake Manor and then approaching 270 in pockets through Big Bend. We've got westbound lining up around Hampton through Hanley. Westbound traffic on the Poplar is a slow go. And eastbound 44, a little slow at Bowles. And then east of Lindbergh, some slow pockets in that Sunshine this morning as Sunshine slow down. And northbound 55 still slowing around Bayless. Westbound traffic is slowing right on the Poplar Street Bridge. This report is brought to you by McKelvey Homes. And their spring savings event is one of the best offers they've had in years. Rates as low as 4.75%. Savings up to $124,000 on move-in ready homes. The event ends on May 31st, so schedule your tour today at McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
A bit of a changeable sky on this Thursday as we await another cool front coming by tonight. Let's call it a mix of clouds and sunshine. Emphasis on the clouds as we go through the afternoon. 68. Tonight, a couple of spotty light showers. 47. Friday, mostly sunny, a cool 62. Saturday, sunny 63. And Sunday, sunny up to 74. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Mark.
42 degrees and sunny here downtown at the Arch. We're coming up on 8:07. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show anytime or from anywhere. All you have to do is download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Welcome back to the Marc Cox Morning Show on a Thursday morning. A little chilly out there. Somebody said, "Hey, people, when you go outside, it's colder than Nancy Pelosi's heart. You better You better wrap up this morning.
That's pretty good.
One of the listener line comments, 314-241-9797. Keep them coming, even the hate. That's okay. We're tough around here. We have tough skin. We can take it. We're glad you're with us, so you can listen to us no matter where you are. Because you have the Odyssey app, as Kim mentioned, but you can also download the podcast. If you missed a segment, we had a great interview last hour with Bevis Schock, attorney who kind of broke down what this Voting Rights Act was intended to do versus how it kind of got twisted over the years and what the Supreme Court did to kind of reset it. They didn't throw out the Voting Rights Act. They just said you can't use it as an excuse to discriminate. It was never the purpose of it. The purpose was to end discrimination, and instead we've kind of gone the other direction. So we don't want to do that. And that was at about 7:35. You can hit the rewind button or go back on the podcast and listen to what Bevis had to say about that. Now coming up, Shannon Bream. This is important. She's of course, she covers the Supreme Court for Fox News. She's their chief legal correspondent. She's going to join us here in the next segment to talk about two important decisions from the Supreme Court. Kim, we talked about one of these all day long. We haven't talked about the other one at all, and I can't wait to bring it up with Shannon. Women's reproductive centers won a major battle yesterday at the United States Supreme Court. No longer can these evil left-wing attorneys general in blue states take actions to restrict the First Amendment rights of people who want to go out and counsel against abortion.
Yeah, like the sidewalk counselors. People like that, right? Because weren't they saying they were doing everything to try to convince him not to have an abortion?
Well, it wasn't just
That's
that.
The idea.
It wasn't just that. Just the fact that they existed offended these libs so much that they tried to basically shut them down because they would put flyers out talking about counseling for women who were pregnant, but they didn't push abortion. And because of that, the state of New Jersey tried to ban them from being in business at all, and or at least severely restrict them. And the Supreme Court smacked them down. I mean, literally, these people sued to defend themselves, and a local liberal district court judge, the first one to hear the case, dismissed it outright. And they had to appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court, who reversed that lower court decision and said, you're going to fix this. So we'll talk to Shannon about that. That was a pretty major case, too, in addition to the Voting Rights Act case. So that's what's going on. Hey, guess what today is? Kind of momentous day in our household. It is technically my
birthday?
youngest child's last day of high school.
What do you mean technically?
Well, I mean, it's the last day she's got to attend class. I don't think
so. It's not the school's last day,
no,
but it's her
but for
last
seniors,
day. Okay.
I think today is the last official day she's got to show up over there.
I remember that feeling so vividly. How cool you felt as a senior, and you're going, and you would typically get out a little bit earlier than the other students. Yeah. That was the craziest feeling, walking out of your high school for the very last time, thinking, Wow. My life is about to drastically...
Now I got to get a job.
Yeah, now I have to do adulting, which is people want to grow up, and then you actually grow up and you realize, wow, adulting is great, but it's also hard.
Tough. And what a difference like the generations make. When my dad, he graduated from high school, he turned 18, and then he graduated a month later. And the day he turned 18, he loaded up his car and drove from his house in Kentucky to Ohio to find a job, and never went back home, and worked from that day forward at a steel mill for 37 years.
Wow.
So in these days, kids don't face those kinds of pressures as often, but it's just a different approach. But good luck to my sweetheart. She was driving to school earlier and texted me and said, I'm headed in for my last day.
That's wild.
We have a senior celebration they're going to do tonight that the parents get to attend. So that is crazy how quick time goes by. Try to cherish every moment of it if you can. All right, still plenty to get to. We've even got Griff Jenkins at the bottom of the hour here. Right now, though, Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist, presented by Rhino Shield.
The role that Congress really plays is in funding these types of operations. So this is the part where they are going to start having more scrutiny over what's being done, what the game plan is. But you didn't really see that in today's hearing. You saw a lot of grandstanding and not the type of deep discussion that I think a lot of Americans could use both from the executive branch and the legislative branch.
Yeah. Did you recognize that voice? That was Molly Hemingway talking about all of the grandstanding congressmen during the hearing yesterday with Pete Hegseth. They each took it their opportunity to blast Donald Trump, and they didn't support this war. All these same hypocrites who said nothing while Barack Obama was sending 10,000 missiles throughout the Middle East when he was president. They didn't raise a bit of concern, but yesterday they had to grandstand. Anyway, Kim, why is it important that we had Molly Hemingway's bite on today?
She is joining us tomorrow.
Yes, she is. Molly Hemingway is going to be on the show tomorrow. She's got a new book out, but she's also one of the best investigative reporters in Washington, D.C., so I can't wait to get her on tomorrow.
The Democrats have been doing this. They've been doing this for a long time. They tried to write four Republican members out of New York, and the only thing that stopped them was their Court of Appeals. So I don't listen to Hakeem. He's a fake tough guy. I'm not listening to Gavin. He's a terrible governor, worse than the country. Governor DeSantis is doing the right thing. I fully support what he's doing.
There you go. Byron Donalds, who, by the way, is running for governor in Florida, but he's still in Congress, talking about redistricting. And they just passed some redistricting in Florida that could add 4 more House seats for the Republicans to Congress.
It's not your building. It's not yours. That's the first thing. This belongs to the people of the United States of America. It is not your building. So building this ballroom basically means you're never leaving.
What an idiot. I'm sorry. Whoopi Goldberg, guess what? Donald Trump won't be in office when the ballroom is finished. Future presidents, some of whom could be Democrats, heaven forbid, will get the benefits of what he's doing right now. It is not his ballroom. And guess what? Our taxpayer dollars aren't even paying for it. Why can't you celebrate that occasionally?
The problem is when you dig down into that data, it is so deeply flawed.
Yeah, Batya Unger Sargon, by the way, they're also one of the sharp minds we hear in media these days, saying, listen, if you are, and I want you to hear this, it's kind of a long bite, but I think it's important. If you're listening to these arguments, whether it's wherever it's coming from, NPR, ABC, NBC, CBS, and they're telling you the rhetoric needs to be toned down on both sides. The violence is coming from both sides. Batya says that's nonsense, and here's why. Because I've looked at the studies they're quoting, and they're flawed.
The problem is when you dig down into that data, it is so deeply flawed. Let me just give you a few examples, okay? The Prosecution Project, supposed to list all of the acts of political violence in America, does not list Charlie Kirk's assassination, does not list Trump's assassination attempts, does not list any George Floyd violence. 24 Americans lost their lives during those riots, not listed. But every white nationalist who's a drug dealer, that gets listed. So they list 33 white Aryan Nation people who had a meth lab. This is political violence because they happen to be white nationalists. All right, Cato does not list the 9/11 victims, does not list any George Floyd violence. Center for Strategic and International Studies, where does it get its data from? The ADL, highly partisan, and the Southern, which just was revealed to have allegedly been funding the very racists that they were supposed to be fighting. And finally, I just have to mention this, the Center for Strategic and International Studies has in its methodology section, it says all anti-Semitism is right-wing. Any attacks on Jews or Jewish institutions, they reclassified it. If it was in the name of Palestinians, they reclassified it as ethno-nationalist. So by their definition, there's no such thing as left-wing anti-Semitism, which we all know is just nonsense. This is the data. It is flawed. Shame on the Wall Street Journal and shame on The Economist because they're giving a flawed view. And I totally agree with Katie. We can't, it would be so nice to say, kumbaya, we all share the problem. You cannot fix a problem if you are lying about what it is.
Thank you. I love somebody that would do her research like that and bring the goods. It's a one-sided problem. This violence is coming from the political left in this country. There's no doubt about that. And so is the violent rhetoric. All right, coming up, we'll get to Shannon Bream. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, if you're just headed out, watch out for a stall. This one just reported eastbound 70 before Wentzville Parkway. Look for that one on the right side. And they've cleared that accident eastbound 364 before 94. Things are looking better through there. Now, eastbound 70, a little moderate volume here and there out west. But that's it. And 64 has some volume at Prospect, at Timberlake Manor, and then in pockets approaching 270 through Big Bend. Westbound is mostly slow, Clayton Skinker through Hanley. We've got some volume on northbound 270, approaching Gravois up through Ladue Road. Southbound 270 slowing near Ladue Road as well. And there's a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. Also on the Illinois side, westbound 64, a little slow on either side of 159. On the Missouri side, we still have some volume northbound 55 around Bayless. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
If you're going out shopping for flooring, which I suspect you will, if you're a savvy consumer, you're going to shop for price. You're going to shop for whoever's got the best selection. I want you to include Michael's Flooring Outlet in that. I am a longtime customer of Michael's, and I can just tell you, it doesn't matter which store you go to, because I've been to all of them. The one in Darden Prairie, the Old Town St. Peter's store, and, of course, the one in West County there off of Olive, west of 270. All similar experiences. Great people. Mike's got people working for him that have been there for years and years and years, and he's been in business 30 years. They keep at it because they're so good at what they do. They're worried about customer service. A lot of their business is return customers because of word of mouth. And people keep coming back, and I don't blame them. I've been back 4 times. So if you're going to shop for flooring, go ask them about their great Mohawk products like the waterproof flooring that looks like dark or light-colored hardwood, whichever you prefer, but it is impervious to water and pets and all of that. They've got that. Some of it's got a lifetime all-pet warranty. You can't beat that at all. Tell them Marc Cox sent you when you go up there. Check them out. You can also go online and request them to bring samples to you. It doesn't get any easier than that. Go to igotfloored.com.
I'm Dan Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, millions of people called us for representation. Why? Because trust grows when you win, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion and counting. When you call America's largest injury law firm, you're calling a family. You're calling an army, our army. You're calling somebody who will fight for you. Injured? Let our family fight for your family. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
The cost of living is going up, Social Security is going down, and who knows where the stock market is going. There are a lot of things you can't control about retirement, but there's one thing you can. You can call the team at Ricken Financial. Their focus has always been preserve what you have and build a paycheck that comes in every month. Call today for your no-cost, no-obligation meeting, 314-207-6211 or at rickenfinancial.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Marc Cox is St. Louis conservative.
Saying that today's ruling will is gutting the Voting Rights Act and will call into peril some of the accomplishments that we've seen over that historic 1965 law that really dismantled Jim Crow and systemic barriers to voting for Black people in the South.
There's only one Shannon. Shannon Bream, host of Fox News Sunday. All right, couldn't be better timing to get Shannon Bream on here. I saw you outside of the Supreme Court yesterday, probably reading from some of that same dissent there from Elena Kagan, where she called this a complete disaster. Shannon, what's your reaction this morning?
She did. Not surprising. She says essentially Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act, which
the left has argued is necessary to protect minority and other voters who could potentially be disenfranchised in our voting system. She says essentially it's a, quote, dead letter, meaning she doesn't think that people will be able to use it now to challenge districts they do or don't like or voting practices they do or don't like. And so, listen, the dissent was longer than the majority opinion, and it guesses, it predicts that this is going to be a terrible thing that will mean that minority representation in government is suddenly going to go away.
If the definition is that I'm disenfranchised because my candidate of choice didn't win or the candidate of my party didn't win, then everyone is disenfranchised almost always at some point, correct?
Yeah, well, that's true if you look at it that way. And of course, this case out of Louisiana was focused on race. And what happened, down there is Louisiana had been stuck in litigation over its maps and told that they didn't have enough minority representation. So they crafted a second, what you call majority minority district that benefited black voters. Well, non-black voters sued and said you can't be using race. And also in 2026, it's time that people stop just thinking that voting blocks are monolithic. We saw some really interesting coalitions in 2024 across race and all kinds of different lines for voter blocks. So you can't just assume that people are going to vote a certain way because they're a certain race.
What does this mean for the rest of the country? Because several states were waiting to see what would happen with this Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, and there are, the speculation 12 to 19 districts could be impacted by this in the short term, meaning that these are in a lot of southern states, places like Alabama and Mississippi and Georgia potentially, where these majority minority districts have been drawn over time. Now we're waiting to see if some of these states call their legislatures back in, try to redraw some of these maps before the midterm. Some of them will have to wait until after to address that because they've already started primaries and those kinds of things. But there are more than a dozen seats potentially that could change to more favorable conditions for Republicans.
What did Justice Roberts say? The best way to end discrimination is by not discriminating? That's a paraphrase, right?
Right. The way to stop discriminating on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Yeah, absolutely. So that kind of overshadowed another fairly big decision yesterday on reproductive rights. Well, at least the First Amendment when it comes to your ability to counsel, correct?
Exactly right. So these pregnancy centers in New Jersey, no complaints against them, but the state attorney general there decided to issue a subpoena to look into their practices and their donor lists. For some of their donors, they actually asked for not only names, phone numbers, addresses, but their places of employment. And so these pregnancy centers decided to, challenge that subpoena, saying, listen, this is going to chill speech, meaning donations. People will not feel safe supporting us. And they fought this case all the way to the Supreme Court, and they get a 9-0 decision. The court on something as contentious as, this, field of abortion, for them to say, yeah, this is a serious impingement on First Amendment rights. These guys need to be able to challenge the subpoena. So now the case actually goes back down so they can do that, but they have the right to.
Shannon, you were at the White House Correspondents' Dinner over the weekend with this shooting, and thankfully you and everyone else was safe. I mean, now that there's been a few days kind of since then, what's your takeaway from that? And especially as this shooter is now in court and he's charged with trying to rightfully assassinate the president. That was the right charge, it seems.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, it just raises so many questions about how safe the cabinet members, the president was in the middle of that situation. It's thousands of people crowded into a ballroom, and it was so tight in there, you could barely get to your table. And I'm just really thankful that people did not panic to the extent that there was some kind of stampede, because it very easily could have happened. So I think it raises all kinds of questions about the situations that we should be comfortable with the president being in, not being in, the vice president, all the other folks who were there. And I think it's good that there's it seems robust after action review about how we can handle these things moving forward. So the president may have to change some of the things that he does. We know he loves the big crowds. We know he loves thousands. But can Secret Service manage that in a way that actually protects them?
Or do they look at their protocols a little more closely, right? Did somebody say that they were prepared to stop an army but not an individual?
Right, and the question was, we've been told after the incident that there was a different posture. It was not the fully heightened posture that it could have been for the Secret Service. And it's a weird situation because that ballroom there in D.C., we understand that there were a number of agencies. I saw them that night. And in fact, when I got there to arrive for the dinner, they were carrying a woman out, kicking and screaming. So, they're always aware of protesters, security, potential threats, those kinds of things. It was swarming with different agencies, but, maybe some questions about how well they coordinated this particular event.
Sure. Sounds like you've got a big get, a very timely get for your show this weekend.
We do. One of our conversations is going to be with Justice Gorsuch. I'm interviewing him tomorrow. He's got a new book out, which is really the best time and often the only time you can sit down with the justices. So it's really about the 250th birthday of this country and making sure that kids understand and can celebrate that heritage. And we'll see what else he's willing to talk about in the current environment.
Yeah. Will he talk about the decision they just released?
I don't know, but I'll ask.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Absolutely. We'll be watching, Shannon. Thank you.
See you on Sunday.
All right.
Thanks.
Got to see that with Justice Gorsuch on there because, they may be hesitant since they're still in session. But if the case has already been released, he could at least maybe talk about the Voting Rights Act case for sure. All right. Coming up, Griff Jenkins. We had some bonus Griff this week on Monday since he was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner as well. We'll find out what he's up to today when we come back.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Don't miss a baseball showdown at Busch Stadium when Shohei Ohtani and the LA Dodgers roll into the Lou May 1st through the 3rd. Kick off the weekend with Friday Night Live and a must-have short-sleeve hoodie giveaway. Saturday brings a Mason Wynn bobblehead celebrating his Gold Glove Award. Then Sunday features a sleek blade collar shirt giveaway. Big names, big matchups, and big giveaways all weekend long. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Mason Wynn. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The 1-2, and that's grounded up the middle. Diving play, Mason Wynn to his feet. He throws, he got him!
What's up, Cardinals fans? Mason Wynn here. On Saturday, May 2nd, when we face the Dodgers, you can take home the Mason Wynn Gold Glove bobblehead presented by the Shane Company. It's got my chain, my first gold glove, my whole look, just how I rock it. Plus, a few rare all-gold baubles will be randomly mixed in for 500 lucky fans. This is one you won't want to miss. Get your tickets now at cardinals.com/promotions.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. Weight loss medications growing in popularity. Eli Lilly's CEO Dave Ricks says more than 20,000 people are taking the company's weight loss pill, Foundayo, in the first few weeks after its launch. The FDA approved Lilly's once-a-day pill, Foundayo, earlier this month, making it the second oral GLP-1 drug behind Novo Nordisk's Wegovy pill. Alphabet beat Wall Street expectations for first quarter revenue. Google Cloud topped $20 billion, growing 63% over last year. The company also updated its full-year capital expenditure range to as much as $190 billion. Microsoft beat on the top and bottom lines and on Azure cloud growth. The company said it had over 20 million paid seats for the Microsoft 365 Copilot artificial intelligence add-on for commercial productivity subscriptions, with more growth to come. Microsoft's quarterly revenue and operating margin guidance fell short of Wall Street projections. Futures are moderately higher as oil prices decline. That's Your Money Now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We still have some slow-moving traffic on northbound 55 at Bayless. That's where you lose the left lane to the construction zone. It's causing a delay through there. Now, eastbound 64 is in pretty good shape. It's a little slow, though, at Timberlake Manor at 270, and then in pockets east of Lindbergh through Big Bend. Westbound still slowing there at Clayton Skinker through Hanley. Southbound 270 a slow go, headed for Ladue Road. Quiet, though, through North County on westbound 270. The northbound 270 slow pockets between Gravois and just north of 64 are still there. If you're headed in from Illinois, westbound 64, slow in the work zone at 159, but not so bad on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, beautiful, beautiful day yet. We don't have, you might have had your furnace on this morning, and you might need your air conditioner before too long if you haven't run it already. That's what happens in the Midwest. We know that, and that's why Air Comfort Service is the best resource for you because they're going to come and do an AC clean and check for you. They're going to check out the whole system. They're going to make sure it's working right. Now, I get this done twice a year as part of their preferred partner plan. You can do that as well. But if you just want an AC clean and check, call them up right now. Today, I think they're just doing it through the end of April. You can, if you do that, for every AC clean and check they did in the month of April, they're donating a bag of food to an animal shelter, the Open Door Animal Sanctuary down in House Springs. So if you love helping out the pets, you're also helping out yourself and making sure you're ready for the hot weather that's just around the corner. Also, when you call them, ask them about those Carrier Cool Cash rebates. You might get $2,600 back in your pocket or off the bottom line, and 0% financing up to 72 months. It is what you do with Air Comfort Service. They're so cool over there. 314-513-0091 or online anytime at aircomfortservice.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. As I mentioned, we have got the one and only Griff Jenkins on the line this morning. And last time we talked to him about the cocaine hippos. Remember that from the drug lord who brought the hippos back? Somebody's trying to rescue them. Some other billionaire's offering to go in and rescue all the hippos. Let's get to Griff, please.
In Kyiv, Ukraine, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. Along the southern border, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. At the White House, Griff Jenkins, Fox News. In St. Louis, Griff Jenkins, Fox News.
Tell me where in the world is
Griff Jenkins. I have learned more about hippopotami from you than anyone else I know, Griff Jenkins.
Well, I'll be mailing you my bumper stickers. I'm just having printed hot off the presses. Save the cocaine hippo.
Nice.
We have a development, and I'm trying to get Fox to pay attention. They are obviously also talking about all the things happening in Washington, but I'm telling you, people are paying attention. So to recap, for any listener that has been tortured by my frequent updates, the hippopotamuses for the Pablo Escobar originally brought to Colombia when he was a drug lord, because why not? You're a drug lord. You have a zoo, zebras, tigers, and hippos. They couldn't get rid of the 4 hippos. They wanted them to die off. Didn't happen because Colombia is hippo paradise. It has lush vegetation, rivers galore, and no known natural predator. And so they've turned into hundreds and now become legitimately, no joke, the most invasive species. They're pooping up the rivers, eating all the vegetation, and literally killing humans that try and deal with them. And now they had decided last week that they were going to have to cull them. They were going to kill, execute, just take out these hippos, a herd of at least 80, and lo and behold, a completely obscure son of an Indian billionaire, right? So this isn't actually the billionaire. This is the son of the billionaire, which I don't know if Dad knows. He's going to empty the bank account on trying to save hippos, but he has said that there is somewhere in India a wildlife refuge, and he wants to bring these hippos from Colombia to India so that they can live.
So now, you're telling me this SOB is going to pay for them to be transferred back to India?
What's the cost per hippo? I'd like to know.
Kim, always with the important details. According to the Associated Press, I will try and get you a more accurate number if Fox will just greenlight putting me on an airplane soon as possible to go back to Colombia. But based on the information we have through local reports, it would cost between $3 to $5 billion. That's with a B, to ship some 80 to 100 hippos over to India. And the reason why is because, I don't think Secretary of War Pete Hegseth in Raising Cane has enough C-130s to move these things because they weigh more than a ton. So it's not like you can load them up on a plane. You could barely put one on a plane.
Couldn't you put them on a boat?
Not to me. That'd be a long boat ride with a bunch of pissed off hippos. I don't even think we have big enough boats.
Imagine the waste on that boat for however many days or weeks that it takes them. I mean, is that seriously worth it to pay several $1 billion to ship some hippos? I mean, I'm not saying just kill all of them, but really?
I'm thinking if you want some hair-raising surfing, you surf down that river where the hippos are and wait till one of them chases you.
No, thanks. And there's that great footage we have on the Fox Nation special, which we did a few years ago, called The Drug Lord Hippos, when I was down there taunting the things to chase me, and we have a great shot of them coming out of a river. Those fishermen are leading the charge to execute them all because they're not only pooping up the rivers, but they're dangerous because the fishermen are down there and they're attacking them. And ultimately, by the way, just for context, Colombia has no one but Colombia to blame because they didn't get rid of them. But then when one of them, a very famous one that is now infamously known as Pepe, was killing people and tearing up farms and stuff, and so they decided they needed to kill him. So they bring an African guy over, embed him with the Colombian military. They go out and kill Pepe. But then what does the military do? They take a smiling trophy hunting shot, and it goes viral, and all the liberals in Colombia lost their ever-loving minds, so much so, it's like, think of Colombian PETA, so much so that the Colombian Congress then passed a law making the things endangered species so that no one could kill them. So they created their own headache.
Yes, they certainly did.
The people who voted for that should be the ones who have to go and deal with all of it because it's creating such a headache, and they can just sit back there and say, not near me, not my problem.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. Hey, have you? I'm assuming on Fox News this weekend you're going to be covering still this fallout from the Supreme Court decision. Yesterday we were talking to Shannon about that a little bit. Man, I can't believe the drop and flop we're seeing over all of this.
Yeah, it's a great point. And listen, you had the best guest in Shannon because she is our Supreme Court genius, but from what I've watched go down over the years, and Mark, you and Kim are old enough to remember, gerrymandering and the redistricting was kind of this thing that we occasionally heard every 4 years. Now it's taken on a whole life of its own. And granted, the court's ruling certainly sends a signal, as I interpret it, to game on Republicans, get going. It won't affect, so that our listeners understand, the midterms per se. We'll see what's playing out in Florida, but it's not going to be a midterm thing, but it is going to be, I think, a domino effect of particularly conservative states. Think Georgia, South Carolina, Mississippi, others that are going to move to really lock up Republican seats.
Well, because for all of the noise so far, it's basically a wash, right? Isn't it like if you add them all up, the changes that have happened, right now it's like +1 Democrat. If Florida goes through with this, it would be like +2 or 3 Republican, I think, if they were to change it before the midterms. And I don't know if the Democrats have any more options or not, but it's just a lot of gamesmanship on the line here. And you can see the reaction, and I said this earlier, the Democratic Party, in my opinion, they don't care about the race issue. They care about the fact that they're losing power because each one of these seats is a Democrat seat.
Right. And you're spot on. You put your finger on it. And let's not forget, all this started way back when Democrats started, Texas state reps were fleeing to Illinois. Right. And then in Illinois, the runaway Dems that ran to get sanctuary in Illinois, and then Illinois started leaning into their redistricting, which was fascinating because all of the seats there are essentially Democrats. But you are going to see now it's sort of backfired. It's boomeranged on Democrats to where the Republicans have the upper hand. I think one thing, though, to be fair in all of this is we don't know what the midterm election results are going to be. But if the dire predictions that the Democrats do take the House and or the Senate, you can see them maneuvering to try and do something to stop the inevitable.
Yep, you can certainly see it coming. Do you know do you have any guests you're going to have this weekend?
Well, I've reached out to the president of Colombia, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it because I need to talk hippos with him, and I'm not entirely sure my bosses are all that excited about it as I am. But other than that, you never know who's going to show up on the weekend, which is a very diplomatic answer of saying I have no idea.
Well, you got to keep fighting for what you want. Maybe you'll be on a plane to Colombia by then.
Save the hippos.
Griff, have a great weekend, buddy. Safe travels.
Hey, guys, have a great weekend.
All right. Yep. See you later. There you go. Normally, we check with Shannon when we get her on the phone to ask her about guests for the weekend, so we don't put her in that position. But I thought maybe Griff might have had somebody in mind for this weekend, given all the news. How do you keep up? Every day it's something. It's a Supreme Court decision. It's a hearing in Congress that went sideways, like the Hegseth hearing. It's something with the king. The king and queen are leaving today.
Well, there's no shortage of content, so that's kind of nice. You can fill a long time.
Isn't
but
that nice?
You really have to pick what's most important because otherwise, we just have endless amounts of time talking about all the crazy stuff happening.
It is absolutely crazy. Speaking of which, we're going to I'm going to run down some of these ATF gun regulations that just changed yesterday. The Justice Department is rolling back gun regs in record time here. We've been waiting for this. Mark Walters texted me yesterday and said, you got to read up on this. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit when we come back. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, we've got a vehicle fire reported. Now, this is westbound 70 past Hanley, and they say they're blocking the 3 left lanes. And I'm seeing also a vehicle off the roadway. So if you're traveling in that area, there is a jam already beginning in both directions around this. Again, this is 70 at Hanley. Now, that may be the worst of it. We're still unwinding, though, on eastbound 64, some moderate volume at Timberlake Manor, and then in pockets 270 through Big Bend. And that's jamming up southbound 170 at 64, and westbound is still slow at Clayton Skinker. Northbound 270, moderate volume, and it stretches between Gravois and Ladue Road, but it's just not that bad. And if you are headed in from Illinois, We look fine on the bridges downtown. This report brought to you by i3 Broadband. Spring is here. Time to get rid of the dusty treadmill and your laggy cable internet. Upgrade to 100% in-home fiber from i3 Broadband. Plus, they're springing forward with their longest price guarantees ever on their gig speed internet services. There are no data caps. It's just pure speed. Visit i3broadband.com/radio and start your spring off right. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
I'm sure my friend Matt Hayes is going to be busy the next few days after all of the rain. I swear I mowed yesterday and parts of my yard were still squishy from all that rain, which means I have a lot of clay in my backyard because that holds the water, right? It seeps down in, but it still it holds the water up against the foundations of your home, and it puts an incredible amount of hydrostatic pressure on those walls. Remember what he told me, that if you have a basement, you basically live on top of a swimming pool, and water is trying to find its way into that foundation. Once it does, it's not ever going to get better until you fix it, and that's what Matt Hayes does at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. I love what the guy does. He can do it for you. He'll be honest with you about the fix and not try to sell you work that you don't need. If you need a sump pump, if you need one installed, they can handle that as well. 314-271-9900. If it's dealing with your foundation, you need Home Shield Foundation Repairs. Find out more at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at ourladiesinn.org.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofStLouis.com.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it with a personalized plan designed to help you hit your money goals. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Marc Cox is St. Louis Conservative.
I understand that Syrians, I think, may be classified as white for purposes of the State Department, or for under certain government programs. But again, I think race is. I think you'd have to poll the public to know what they think the race of a Syrian is. I certainly think they're not white.
Poll the American people.
Well,
do they think Syrians are white?
I wouldn't think that most would, Justice Alito.
Really?
I really don't.
How about Turks?
I honestly haven't considered what racial component I would sort Turks into.
How about Greeks?
I don't know the answer to that either.
How about Southern Italians?
Well, certainly 120 years ago, when we had our last wave of European immigration, Southern Italians were not considered white. So I think our concept of these things evolves over time.
How about Spaniards?
I think same answer. About 120 years ago, I don't think they were considered white.
You have a really large, you have a really broad definition of who's white and who's not white. As I said, I don't like dividing the people of the world into these groups.
Yeah, Justice Alito yesterday, this was a hearing. They were hearing arguments on this challenge to Donald Trump trying to end the protections for those Haitians, temporary protection for the Haitians that was granted by Joe Biden. The Trump administration's trying to stop that, and the defense for it is racist.
That's the
always
defense
their
for
defense.
everything. Yeah.
And Alito's point is, well, what if it's not racist? Why is it just, if in this case it's the Haitians, the next time it'll be somebody from Central America. I mean, why do you always want to assign it to racism when there may be not a good reason to have granted these people protective status to begin with? And I love the fact that that they're having these conversations. You've got people who have just Lord protect Justice Alito, please. We've got to keep people with common sense on the Supreme Court. And there were calls yesterday to expand the court because of that decision. It was a 6-3 decision on the Voting Rights Act. The one on the First Amendment dealing with women's productive resources was unanimous, 9-0. Even though it dealt roughly with the abortion issue, it dealt with people's right to have a conversation with someone based on your beliefs.
Well, at least the 3 liberal justices actually, did vote. They were looking at the Constitution and interpreting the law. I mean, that was my critique earlier, is saying that I feel like the 3 liberal justices just tend to vote the same on everything.
Well, they do. They are
mostly,
most likely to vote as a
yes.
bloc, and the Republicans are most likely not to. If you go back and look at the decisions, which is why we get mad occasionally at Amy Coney Barrett or somebody like that. So anyway, here's the story on the gun change by the ATF yesterday, in case you missed this, because the Democrats under Joe Biden tried desperately to run small mom and pop people with a CDL with a license to sell guns out of the business. Right, CCL, I guess is what I'm looking for, or just if they're illegal gun ownership, unlicensed dealers. So here's what happened here. Among more than 30 changes announced Wednesday is the proposed repeal of a 2024 Biden administration rule that sought to force thousands of more firearms dealers across the U.S. And see, that's even a fake language, because these people aren't all dealers. To run background checks on buyers at gun shows and other places outside brick and mortar stores. The rule aimed to close what's sometimes referred to as the gun show loophole, which they say allows guns to be sold by unlicensed dealers who do not perform the background checks to ensure the potential buyer is not legally prohibited from having a firearm. Well, guess what? That's already illegal. It's illegal for me to sell a gun as a private gun owner without asking somebody if they're legally capable of owning it. And if I sell it to them and there's reason to believe they're not, I can go to jail for that. That's a law already. So if you're disposing of a private collection of guns and you happen to be at a gun show, they want those people to have to run background checks too, but that's not what the law says. And that's what's important here. Todd Blanche pointed this out yesterday. He said the changes bring gun regulations back in line with the Supreme Court precedent, and while cutting down on unnecessary burdens for firearms sellers and lawful gun owners. Remember what the Biden administration was doing? They were sending ATF officers in like goons, doing surprise inspections on small mom and pop stores and grilling them on record keeping and all of this stuff, which the letter of the law, you have a certain period of time and you're supposed to keep these records and you're supposed to turn them over if you're asked. But it was clear they were doing it to try to run some of these smaller mom and pop stores out of business with no reason. And for too long, this is Todd Blanche, regulations were written without any real understanding of how firearm businesses operate, how lawful gun owners handle their firearms, or what truly improves public safety. And he's dead on there. He's absolutely correct. You got people writing laws on guns that have never handled one, have no idea the difference between a revolver and a semi-automatic. They don't get it. Same thing they tried to do in the city of St. Louis years ago. And if you read it, it was like they opened up a Google document and tried to figure out how to word it. They had no idea what they were talking about. So good for Todd Blanche. I'm fully in support of that guy becoming the next attorney general. All right, Kilmeade's coming up. We're going to be back with you here at 5 a.m. on Friday morning. Have a great Thursday afternoon.